that's somewhere where they're able to really even fix some of their individual weaknesses by using team play. And then you see Crazy, they have a lineup that has so much potential. They just have solid players all across the board. So I think it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. But as far as alternate attacks goes, they've already played a couple matches against Crazy, and in both instances they've come out on top. So I think it's going to be at the very least a bit scary of a proposition as far when it comes to Crazy.
I mean, aTTaX is very much the gatekeeper team of being able to get into that top 30, being able to get into that comfortable place where you are an actual contender for every single closed qualifier you're in, for every single online tournament you're in. aTTaX is the gatekeeper team because they're always hovering around that mark. And unfortunately, they've always had a hard time actually bursting through to a slightly higher level. But right now, the roster that they currently have, Slacks as an AWPer, has somehow come through and replaced Montu successfully, something which I thought was never going to be possible. Similarly, you've got Stefan, who can have beautiful moments, and then obviously the structure that you talked about. Crazy, however, you can never talk about the roster without talking about the one man whose name was not written on the screen. It's Jonta, who is the mastermind behind the Crazy project, who is the coach for Crazy. And Jonta's such a legendary coach. He's been around the scene for so long, and his efforts really show within Crazy. On Mirage in particular, they look like they've got a beautiful mastery over the map. They know exactly what to do, when to do it, rotations to come through. So this is very much going to be a semblance of a super structured German Counter-Strike from all attacks going up against Crazy, which less structured, but still, they've got the hints of wonder. They've got the magic of Jonta in there.
Yeah, definitely. But the question will always be whether or not that magic is going to be enough, because like I said before, alternate attacks, they've used their structure to overpower a team like Crazy. So when you sing the praises of a coach, you also have to take into account the structure. And if that does not pull through, if they haven't made the adjustments necessary to be able to counter a team like alternate, I mean, like you said, to be able to burst into the top 30, if they don't have that under their belt quite just yet, this could be a proposition that they definitely struggle to bargain for.
Well, one thing to always keep in mind is the fact that we do have our veto, and we're going to be showing that off in just a second. I'm sure the graphic will pop up as well. We've got Dusto being banned out by Crazy, Nuke taken away from alternate attack's side, Mirage then Crazy's own pick. It's their go-to, and then you get to see the magic V that all the gamers want. It's alternate attacks on Vertigo. Yes, that's exactly the V we want. But it is going to be a decider on Inferno. So it's an interesting overall set of affairs. Now, what I'm particularly worried about is what you're particularly excited about. And it's Vertigo. It's for a simple reason. Crazy doesn't really play it all too much. They did play it recently against Navi Jr. They had their brains blown out of the server. They already got, they had 8 rounds on the T side. I thought, okay, maybe we can work with this.
Really dangerous.
Only a single round on the CT side, which does not bode well when you're against a team like aTTaX.
Yeah, especially if you look at the historical data behind alternate. They've won 84% of the time that they've gone up against anyone on Vertigo, and that's a big number. You don't see teams having above an 80% win rate very often. And Crazy, on the other hand, they've lost more than half of their games on Vertigo. So definitely one of the stronger picks here for alternate attacks, and a very difficult position for Crazy to be in.
It is going to be rough on Vertigo, but at the same time, let's borrow from the win rates that you're talking about, because I look at aTTaX and their worst win rate is on Mirage. Mirage as a map is not one where you expect a team to have anywhere below like a 45, 48% at most, simply because of how commonly played it is within this caliber of opponent. So when I see alternate attacks sitting on a 43%, that's worrying to be on one end. But on the other end, they did actually go up against Crazy a while back, and it wasn't all that bad. It went to overtime. It was a 16-19. It was a very close affair, and alternate attacks were in control for a vast majority of it. Crazy came back with a few fantastic rounds, and Crazy was able to pull through in overtime, but wasn't quite always there. So I'm a little bit worried about that as well. Now, the decider, that's where I'm going to fall on the side of Crazy. If it goes to 3 maps, I think Crazy takes this, because Inferno from alternate attacks is not impressive to me. Their win rate isn't terrible, so stats are not too far out against them, but I just think that they're not a very good Inferno team.
Yeah, you've said before that Crazy, they've improved tremendously on Mirage. So obviously, we're starting to think that maybe Crazy will be taking Mirage, and then Alternate Tax being heavily favored on Vertigo. This definitely seems like a three-map ordeal, and if it does come to that, I mean, Alternate Attacks, they're no slouches. Sure, you can say that they haven't had the greatest of Infernos, but they're still a top contender, and they've actually had more success on Inferno than you'd like to think. So Welcome back, everybody. We're about to test the hypotheses of whether or not better knives help you win the knife round, and that might be true because we saw in 3 karambit kills. I'm not sure of the knives on the other side, though, so I'm just gonna pretend that Crazy had the better knives there. Speaking of crazy theories, we have one more that we need to go through. Well, actually, we don't need to go through that at all because Mamoon is slowly turning into a lunatic as the days go by. What we will be looking at, though, is actual Counter-Strike, the actual depths of what a team can come up with, rather than just switching around usernames for the maximum possible advantage.
Well, we're back with some great AR stats as well, and the reason why I'm saying we're back is because we're going to pretend like none of that segment happened with Wild AD on it. However, it is Crazy versus alternate attacks, and it is going to be interesting to see who exactly can take away the pistol round. A huge amount of alternate attacks' success on the T side will be coming down to their read of Crazy overall and how well they've adjusted since the last time. Over here, though, you can see Sensei's got an aggressive, and he does find the kill, even if it's a little bit flimsy and a little bit flailing about at first. Merbit goes down, and the 2 players coming up from Connector are going to be dangerous. Cressy coming in from the side, doesn't realize Psycho's right behind him, and Psycho's trying to spam away. He does find Stefan. That's a bomb as well, taking a fall. Slack's now trying to bring Sensei to his knees, and he will do so, but the trade is not good for him. It leaves it in a 4v2. Quickly changed back to a 2v3. Slacks and Strunk left trying to do the dirty work and get back that bomb.
The bomb pretty much out in the open. They're gonna have to challenge Connector and Jungle to be able to try to recover it. Smoke rolls out. That makes their lives just a little bit harder. Slacks trying to find the angle, but before that, DemQ does. Crunk to fall. Now in a 1-on-3, pretty much an impossible setup there. 1-0 for Crazy.
Really nice start coming out from Crazy overall. Sensei getting aggressive over there forced the Connector players to actually move into the site a lot earlier than they would have otherwise. So Psycho had all the time in the world to use that smoke to his advantage and just really maneuver around it. The smoke wasn't quite close to dissipation, and as a result of that, you know, the players just fall, the bomb goes down, and after that, alternate attacks is just caught in an endless loop of trying to get that bomb back. Now, attacks going for a deagle buy. Slacks, of course, saving up for an op for later on, so they're not investing entirely into this. But look at this from Crazy. This time aggression is there, but it is not rewarded anywhere near as well.
Bronk picking up the first, and he picks up a Famas to boot. That helps them inch their way into this round despite losing the first one. And they do have armor all across the board, so Crazy, they need to be worried about this alternate. Making their way up underpass and mid now. Mid control should be established. A look at Sensei, though. He's about to run into a player that is holding on to a deagle. Fight avoided, though. As the rest of the teams still scramble on mid. I don't think Crazy are ready for this, though, because despite the fact that Sensei is pushed all the way up, it looks like they're very worried about B here. They have 1 player playing from CT spawn, 2 from B, and they will not be able to cope up with the pressure that is about to come flowing through Connector. There it is. Got in control of the bomb site now, and with the CT rotation already having come in, a little bit of a crossfire setup here to potentially surprise the players moving in as they try to contest Palace.
Merbit's first to find a kill. DemQ goes down. Serg is on CT, just playing comfortably in from the back lines, using the M4A1, and they do manage to bring it back to a 3v3. Sensei to take down Stefan, and the crossfire persists as the player on short is not taken down or forced off. Bomb can't be planted just yet. They have to go for it soon. The bomb will be able to go down, and as a result of that, attacks do find quite a bit of damage and a bomb plant, but for a few seconds there, I thought they might just be forced to go through the round without a loss bonus for a few seconds.
I'm a little surprised that they weren't able to pick off the player in Palace, because Sensei was allowed so much breathing room for the longest time, because the terrorists, they didn't actually stick to clearing out one area. Had they cleared out CT by using all of their firepower, at that point they would have actually covered themselves from Palace just enough to be able to get the advantage and to be able to scope out one angle rather than having to fight 2. That, though, is the saving grace that Crazy needed. And they've won the second round. Alternate attacks, though, they've built up a fair amount of money. Not too much, but AKs across the board. And a Galil. Skrunk, though, he's on that Mac 10 to be able to afford as much utility as his team could desire. That piece coming out for A pretty soon as they are all huddled up towards ramp. Flashbang rolls out. Stefan, first man to go in. He's trying to find the duel towards CT, but CREYZI haven't really exposed themselves just yet.
The man to keep an eye out for is already moving back. And that is, of course... I thought Sensei was going to get aggressive through the smoke with the AWP, but he's not going to be able to do that. And just off of their 2 smokes, they will get the bomb down. They've got 1 still left. They can try and re-smoke off an angle. Murbit finds Sensei, though, and that is very, very big. The AWP being dropped in the double peak following up turns it into a 5v3. Toxic suddenly wondering whether it's even worth going for this, but he does have that MP9, which will not find too much. The 2 M4s are going to be forced to attempt to save, especially with the AWP now being recovered, but alternate attacks just off the back of 2 smokes, a very quick set strat, forced CREYZI back, and CREYZI, for once, they were actually playing pretty passively.
Yeah, correct decision to try to save the AWP, which is what DemQ will be on the case for. Murbit, though, can you get it a little bit of damage done? Doubtful. The one thing to note here is that not having any aggression early on in a map like Mirage, it puts you in a position where a set piece and execute can take you out of the game entirely because you can't make your way back into a bomb site. Now, that's what CREYZI did, playing a little bit too passively to the point where they let the execute happen and they gave a pretty much free bomb site control. That was the end of the round right there and then.
Yeah, that's why I was expecting Sensei to get a little bit aggressive with the AWP in there as well, but he decides against it. And of course, going through his smoke without really the necessary flashes is very difficult. Meanwhile, DemQ finds 2 off the back of a very fast play from alternate attacks when Murbit has also crossed down into the site. Murbit's looking for more. Can he tap away? He's re-peeked out. DemQ, who looked to be the savior of this round, will end up falling. And there you have it. Again, CREYZI forced back, and although they tried to force buy around their saved weaponry, they are once again put on the save, and I believe next round should be an eco from them. Psycho hoping for some sort of a gun to be handed over, though, and he might even have his wish fulfilled.
Yeah, there's no way that they have any money to work off of in the next round. A little surprising, though, that DemQ, despite being able to get that first kill, they still aren't able to hold on to the bomb site, because that looked like CREYZI were going to get that pretty convincingly, especially after Murbit got tagged to the point where you'd expect him to follow, but it just didn't happen. Instead, we saw 3 kills coming out from the T side. CREYZI, though. Oh, he's trying to go for a quick... doesn't quite reach the Galil. That is guttural. Man, that feels bad. Because when the Galil's right there...
he would have had it.
Yeah, perhaps.
Well, that's unfortunate. At the same time, though, what I'm personally surprised about is the fact that DemQ, when he was backing off, he had his knife out, even though they heard the audio cue of Murbit dropping down into the van. So unless they just there was some communication going on, something on those lines, and they didn't realize it at the time, it is surprising that they don't quite get that job done. Now, Stefan, very aggressive, into ladder room he goes. Sergis, who was boosted through Sniper's Nest, has already been brought down, so CREYZI finding anything in this round seems to be a moot point.
Yeah, especially giving up ladder control so quickly, that puts them in a position where they're pretty much caught from all angles. They just have to try to play passively and potentially get an exit frag here and there. Psycho, though, pushed
Psycho
up.
looks like Chris Evans, Captain America.
Maybe a little. Alternate attacks, though, this should be a pretty easy round for them, unless Psycho can pull off something crazy, which doesn't seem to be the case just yet.
Psycho's really just hoping to find Cressy and take him down. Cressy,
Yeah, I think you heard the audio cue earlier.
Yeah, the problem is Cressy is just going to start moving into its AK, or at least the corner of it, to protect from any flank. And they are checking from this. aTTaX is generally very good about not being flanked, and as a result of that, Psycho is going to have such a difficult duel. Good flashbang comes into its CT as well. Sensei is having no question marks about potentially losing that AK, and as I say that, Psycho also falls. So at the end of the day, Crazy seems like all they're really going for is preserving the stats and not letting aTTaX have an additional $300, but it does seem a bit of a awkward point when you consider. Oh, okay, they're able to find the M4A1. At least there's that. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's actually huge. I mean, if you think about how much of a difference in terms of utility that can make, just having one player that can pretty much buy up all the utility you need now, that changes everything, in my opinion. aTTaX, though, very clean anti-eco coming in because they pretty much didn't lose anything. Very careful on checking those angles, and now a pretty early tactical timeout coming in from Crazy. Little surprised that it wasn't longer. I'm not sure what exactly it was for, but makes sense moving into a gun round.
They don't have the op on Sensei. That could be a problem.
No AWP. On the other hand, aTTaX, they do have an op in the hands of Slacks. So there's a bit of a difference in firepower, but that can be mitigated if they play their cards right. Krunk, though, getting nice and aggressive towards mid. The smoke has already popped. Sergi to fall. They're making their way up short, and they're not going to be ready for Stephen, who was able to pick up one. 3-on-3 now. Toxic has to hold on to this bomb site all alone up against these three players. They're moving in from short in apartments. Cressy, though, he obliterates that duel. And there it is, Sensei and Demq for the retake.
For the retake, it might be arguable. They don't have kits and their utility is slightly lackluster, even if it is somewhat there. Sensei finding the first kill, though, might be what changes things. Unfortunately, Cressy is good for the second, and that leaves Demq alone, and he has made a lot of noise. So the 1v2 becomes increasingly difficult. Flashbang to fly through. He's pretending to fly in from the window, but he might be cut off. The shadow will be visible, but he finds one while he's dropping down. Murbit, good for the trade and good to save the AWP. Despite it being a 1v1 going the way of aTTaX, their money is so good that really they don't care about that all too much. And Crazy, this is where you start to get a little bit worried.
Yeah, I think one thing that really worked out for aTTaX is for Cressy to be able to pick up that kill off of that pixel peek all the way from short. Because he was already like 10 HP. That could have been the 2 versus 2 for Crazy, but a really good individual firepower coming out to shut down the lines to live to see another day. Crazy now, though. Again, not much money to work off of. A few deagles here and there, and a flashbang for Psycho to work with. Oh, Murbit, though, just playing around with the firing range just a little bit, but Sensei has something else to say about that as he picks up one with a deagle, tries to go for a follow-up with the AWP, and now his position has been given away, so his best bet would be to try to run away with this AWP to get it in the next round, because, again, their money isn't going to be amazing. Toxic, though, still wants to contend for the round just a little bit before he falls, takes Cressy down, and hasn't fallen just quite yet. Murbit about to walk into his crosshairs. A CZ75, very underrated on these close range angles, and that leaves Sensei in a 1 versus 2. Is he going to go for it?
Sensei just seems so unlikely. He does get the first, though. And now, that initial deagle kill, it's starting to haunt aTTaX's dreams, especially when you consider Stefan. I mean, he's in deagle territory. You don't even need the off for that one, Sensei. And the bomb's not planted for him, so if he's going for this, he might not be expecting the position of Stefan Shaw, but he's sticking it for now. Stefan's trying to creep in from behind. Sensei, is he going to get this? Stefan from behind, though, will get up on top of the scaffolding and take him down. If not for the lack of kit, that would have been a round for Crazy and aTTaX. I don't know if they realized that. I don't know if they factored that in, which is why they sent a player over towards a main, which would be pretty next level if it was true. But at the end of the day, they do come up with a round that it looked like Sensei had barely. That we had earlier on and let it come to fruition. Attax on a defensive default right now, though.
Sensei, I think this is the first opportunity where he's really got into play with the AWP, where he's not in a retake. Alternate attacks, though. Already getting quite a bit of information here on mid. They know that they're not being contested. Crazy playing quite a bit passive, as they have one player towards short, one player playing all the way from the back lines at B, and 3 players huddled up in A. Alternate not quite finding the duels they're looking for just yet, but the smokes are starting to be lined up. Jungle smoked off. That gives them the opportunity to potentially contest connector or short. Ooh, connector smoked out, though. They've smoking off top connector. This seems like it's going to be a short hit. They've had success here before. Demq, though, he's the first point of contact here, but Skrunk coming out on top of the duel immediately falls to Toxic. And that brings it back to a bit of a stalemate here, as alternate attacks scramble to try to get the bomb in position.
You have to keep an eye out on Psycho. Psycho goes down. Murbit is the one to catch him off. His position may be given away, and that means Toxic's looking for the hunt. However, Murbit's position is so incredibly good because he doesn't need to aggress. He's already got a good crossfire going with the Palace player, but he's turned around at the wrong time. He'd already revealed his position, leaving Sensei to clean things up. A good recovery from Crazy over there after they lost Psycho. It seemed like aTTaX had been given an olive branch into the round, but it was not meant to be. And a lovely little crossfire overall will come through. Crazy, however, very soon afterwards pull out the double op. Now, I'm not particularly impressed by Demq's opping. I will be perfectly honest. I think he has his moments as a turret, but he is not the highest skilled. I will see him get a crazy flick shot kind of offer, though. So it can be a little bit worrying for me on a map like Mirage.
Especially when you look at the investment that the CT side has to make to go for a double op setup. Psycho already falling. So if this double op gamble doesn't work out, this would be huge. But Slacks catching Toxic off of 1 pixel there. That gives the T side the opening that they need. Demq missing his shot. That is going to be the call for the save, pretty much. I mean, what else can they do off of that?
That's exactly the shot, the kind of shot I was actually talking about. So
allowing yourself to tunnel vision, and like, let's say there's an entire other piece of action going on the B bomb side there, for example. He's not entirely focused on that one shot. He's also mentally ready to be able to flick onto the left or unscope so he can not get shot by 2 different angles. So it's very there's a lot more to it than just that one little flick.
Well, there you go. There you have it. That's the reason behind it. 6th round for aTTaX, though, and they are very happy with how things are going, despite the loss bonus for Crazy being as high as it can be. Things are not looking like they will be particularly affected for quite a while. The problem is, so Crazy, even on their double op, we've not really seen them come through with anything particularly innovative. The times where I've actually seen Crazy look the best was early on, when they were willing to get aggressive, when they were willing to try and get a main control, a cave control, actually get aggressive through the apartments as well, even though it didn't work out for them. Slacks will be run boosted across to try and get a nice little sight line. But so far, aTTaX yet to lose a man.
Yeah, Crazy, this passive style of play isn't really working out for them, because alternate, they seem to be the ones in the driver's seat at all times. They have all the information that they need, and they can pick and choose their battles as they seem fit. Now, Crazy still sticking to their guns with regards to passivity. On the other hand, alternate slowly getting control of mid, and they do have one player in Palace and another in the form of the Bomber on ramp. So it does seem like at the end it will be an A play coming through. Now, of course, oh, look at Psycho. He's letting Skrunk live. He wants the smoke to fade away before he goes for the follow-up. He tries to get more information there, quickly turns around. Despite missing the shot, that's quite a bit of damage being done. Skrunk to fall. Psycho swings out with the help of a flashbang. And there it is, the equalizer coming through from Slacks. What a mess.
The double flashes coming in from Crazy look like they would have solved it for Psycho, but Psycho chooses to retreat instead of taking an initial duel because he thinks someone's going to be playing anti-flash. Toxic now, he has to come up big with that fall on AWP. A secondary flashbang is lined up for his position, but Stefan, the second he actually swings out, he'll be vulnerable. The flashbang won't actually land, but neither will Toxic's shot, and that leaves Psycho alone on this B side, waiting for any sort of assistance to come in, and that assistance should be arriving, but it'll be a bit late. And he can't stop the bomb from being planted.
Yeah, they were expecting it, and now in a 2 versus 3 retake with the AWP, it's pretty much the best decision here to save. We see this quite often now on the CT side, but unfortunately that's how broken the economy can get. I mean, I'm not going to say broken in the grand scheme of things, not going to say that it's broken as far as the game is concerned, but it can really be brought down even if you lose a couple rounds here and there. And they're very mindful of that, which is a good call from Crazy. Sensei holding on to that AWP because that can potentially change the outcome of the game. And again, this is where the question of the double op setup comes in. This hasn't been working out for them. To be honest, we only really see Sensei hitting those crucial shots. And if anything, that AWP, that extra AWP is more of a liability because that restricts the other players from assisting in other spots where they may be needed and where a rifle may be more applicable.
Sensei is also, I don't know, man. I feel like we need to see someone other than Sensei pop off. And I mean, if Sensei wants to pop off too, that's nice. That's a nice little bit of movement to start things off as well. He gets himself across, will have the gap in the smoke to work with. You know, with how long Slacks has waited, Slacks should know. By this time, someone can walk over from short, even if they don't have the fancy footwork. Sensei, can he get the kill onto someone who's run boosting across? He doesn't even want to try. Backs off, and I don't think he realizes that Slacks has been having his pathway accelerated, so to speak. But what I'm interested in, though, is a duel over on Palace. Sergez going up against Stefan will be interesting. That'll make a huge difference about what exactly will be coming through. We need to keep an eye on him because Sergez, the second he wants to get aggressive, the second he gets flashed into Palace, that will be the difference maker. And if he doesn't do that, that could be all.
Ooh, like you mentioned before, the early information is crucial, and Crazy not pushing in. This is exactly what's puts them in a position where they don't know that the ramp push is coming through. There's only one player from the T side on B. Now the players are moving in. Skrunk, first man in. He spots Sergey, spams through, but Sergey wins the initial duel. He's still lingering around the smoke while the assistance comes in. This is way too much time being granted for the CTs to come in for the retake. Murbit takes down Toxic, but Sergey is still alive. Sensei comes through as a hero to protect Sergey. Stefan finds the kill on Psycho, swings around, hasn't quite found Sergey yet, so that he's a thorn in their side that has yet to be eliminated. Murbit left all alone now. And man, that was all off of Sergey's position, to be honest.
Hey man, I said keep an eye on him. I know what I'm saying, okay? You give me a mini-map where I can see both teams, and I can see the X-ray, and I have all the information that'll never be available. I'm like a G that way.
Yeah, so you almost have as much information as Zaiwu then.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, he also has information on how to play the game. That's where I'm not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet, yeah. But Sergey, despite the fact that he only got 1 kill, being able to stay alive in that position for that long, that gives him one more angle to clear. And that's just not just one angle. You have to turn your back to connector, to jungle, and to CT just to be able to worry about that one player. Damq, though, as opposed to Sensei usually, is going to get a little bit aggressive, but immediately smoked off. Ooh. Look at Crazy, though. They're starting to get a little bit aggressive. They're starting to feel like they're a little bit more warmed up, I suppose. But the aggression won't fully materialize, and Psycho picks up Murbit as he tries to go for the silent little boost.
Off the back of that, auto attacks are going to actually turn around and let their default go on for longer. This is something attacks likes to do, but it doesn't always work out in their favor. Sensei missing the shot, but gets the information. what aTTaX likes to do in situations where they suddenly lost a man in the process of execution of something that they had planned. Because if Merbit's able to actually get across there, then you start to pinch to the A side very quickly. aTTaX just likes to change up the plan immediately, try and go over towards another place in the map and find a pick off while they're at it. Now though, it's Demkid already take down Struck. It's his first AWP kill, and it will be Psycho to give him another chance to have a few more. He saves the day for now, and Slacks and Stefan back off immediately. And that might just be it for them. I mean, I don't entirely agree with the save, to be perfectly honest. I think you...
What's their loss bonus at the moment? I'm not sure if we should... Okay.
Maybe it's 24. That's what I can't tell. Like, if it's 24, then I don't agree with the save. If it's 19, then it's fine.
Especially because if you like look at the money on Cressy, for example, that's only $2,000, and for Skrunk it's 500. So that puts them in a position where a save might actually be applicable, so they can pass that AWP over.
Yeah, it's 1900. Okay, then that's fine. I forgot the last bonus. That's fair enough.
Crazy though, you can see how the dynamic of the game changed as soon as they started getting at the very least a little bit more aggressive, so they know that there's no early ramp contest, and that allows them to have the fast retake necessary to be able to stop B, because B is pretty much a one and done spot. If you win that duel, you get B. The retake is pretty much impossible as long as the T's play their cards right. So Crazy having that early rotate and then Demq hitting his shots, and really did come down a little bit to individuality. Demq though, this time around, the shots will not be connecting as he misses the initial shot towards mid. Psycho though, first point of contact, and Steven moves in with the flashbang and he comes out on top. Another flashbang rolls out to allow his teammates to mobilize towards mid, but Sergey has something else to say about it as he's already eliminated Cressy. 4 on 3, the CTs with the advantage, and alternate attacks feeling quite suffocated.
And they will continue to have this chokehold around their throats be tightened as Crazy do just back off, and they will not be giving away any informations. They will not be giving away any bodies for free. Merbit, once his smoke has gone down, there is no longer any cover for him over towards Palace, and that'll be all she wrote. Alternate attacks. Now they realize that enough is enough. We can't keep saving over and over again. They're going to move through, but a smoke in front of them will reveal their position. The Skrunk will be found out. Demq takes him down. Toxic from the side has a nice little off angle and will finally take away Slacks' AWP, which has been saved for far too long, it seems like. And I have to say this about Slacks as well. I know he likes to go for the AWP on the T side of Mirage, but it can very often be a liability. Slacks is a fantastic player. He's a fantastic AWPer. But T side Mirage, there's a reason why a lot of teams do not get an AWP unless you have someone like Serson, Simple, Cirque, people like that who are on your team.
Crazy though, on the other hand, they're starting to get a little bit more ground into the game. Again, the double op setup coming out from the CT side. It's starting to work out for them a little bit though, because Demq has started to hit his shots. Sensei, sharp as ever. Toxic getting a little bit aggressive here so he can get more information towards B, because the audio should be coming in very soon. Pistols all across the board though for alternate attacks, and they're going to be backing off.
Their utility is going to be very interesting for me. I want to see where exactly they're going to be trying to overwhelm and get the bomb plant in, because when you're playing from mid, unless you take down Psycho, which has been a duel they have actually very consistently lost. Ooh, nice little angle to pair into the ladder room as well. But unless you take down Psycho early on, any sort of smokes that will isolate out CT players, any sort of smokes that will isolate out jungle players seem to be useless, because you can only do one of the others. So either Sergis or Psycho will both be there. And now you can look at this. Sergis smokes himself off. Molly's down towards Triple, making sure they can't actually push in towards him. He finds the first as they jump up, and the second is intercepted soon after. Will the bomb be planted? Seems like it should be able to be. They haven't quite realized where it is, and no further damage will come through. Cressy's left alone. He will find one, but beyond that, Crazy aren't really affected by that one casualty. You're entering the very last round of the half, and alternate attacks at this point, all they can ask for is 15, and all Crazy can ask for is, hey, why don't you just drop for me if I have no money?
The one thing I don't agree with on the T side is the fact that even though it was an eco, Skrunk bought down to $500 yet again, and that puts them in a position where because of the fact that they didn't even get any damage done in the previous round, with the exception of 1 kill, Skrunk is now on a Galil. That severely hampers his firepower. Let's see how that affects the round, though. Crazy getting a little bit aggressive here. Psycho in underpass. He's waiting for Murbit to come around the corner, but Murbit will be wary of his tricks. Holding that angle, but he doesn't come out on top. Murbit picks up the first. And Crazy now with the disadvantage. Still the double up. Great for picking off at a distance, so unless an execute comes in, this could still be very deadly for alternate attacks. Bit of mid control. A little bit of ramp control, and one player taking control of the apartments.
You really do like the positioning coming out from aTTaX, though, when you consider that so far this is around the time when they have always made their decisive play of where they're actually going in. And there is really no indication of what will come through. Sure, the bomb's posturing towards B, but now that Toxic has found that equalizing kill, they will be forcing him out of his position, taking him down. And Demq, although he's got an AWP, and that's a very expensive weapon, he's going for something a little bit more old school. Deagle's been pulled out, and for good reason. They're rushing into him, but he can't find more than one. The AWP at a shotgun angle does not work any magic. It doesn't work any wonders, and neither does it when it's so far away. Sensei just not good for that kill, and alternate attacks are able to overwhelm off the basis of Crazy finding a pickoff in ladder room.
I'm a little surprised that Crazy were able to make the adjustments that they needed and bring it to seven rounds on the board. Even though that's not a great half for the CT side, being able to come back from what looked like, I believe it was a 7-3, still good adjustments in terms of passivity, in terms of getting a little bit more aggressive towards ramp, getting a bit more aggressive for further information towards mid and underpass. Alternate attacks, though, with the round lead and with the side advantage now, starting on the CT side. Let's see how different their gameplay will be in contrast to Crazy. Pretty much a standard B contact play coming through. They're waiting for the first point of contact before they start running in. The bomb is there as well. All 5 players entirely committed to the B bomb site. They've moved in, but they don't have information from Murbit just yet, who's playing around these corners to try to find a kill before he eventually goes down. Not connecting anything, he will be to fall. 4 players now, and the retake. Oh man, B, always a very interesting prospect. Even though he picks up Sensei, that allows them the breathing room, the wiggle room they need to get back into this round. Skrunk already pushed up towards the trash can, spamming away with the P2K, doesn't connect, gets triple peeked there, and will be picked up by Sergiz. Cressy, a USP kill coming through, but will it be enough? Because Stephen is now left all alone. Ooh, despite those 2 kills, he made it come to so close, but man, Crazy picked that up.
And the key kill is actually being able to take down Stefan in the apartment. And yes, you know, you see some great stuff coming out from the T side and from Stefan over here too, but wait, was it Stefan? No, who's player number 8? It is Stefan. All right. Whoever the player in the apartments was from the terrorist side, being able to actually take him down initially, that made all the difference. But then you see Crazy recovering it soon afterward. You know what? I'm going to very quickly take over this afterwards. Slacks finds one, Skrunk takes away another one, and it seems like all that we're seeing happen is players fall down, while I'm still a little bit confused about who is actually playing that pistol round for some reason. But it is going to be auto attacks in a 4 versus 3 with Deagle, so at the ready will completely repel Crazy from entering the site. Was the HUD glitched for a second? Because I feel like I'm just confusing the teams back and forth for some reason.
It's okay, it happens. Sometimes the HUD on your screen is glitched, sometimes the HUD on in your brain is.
Oh, that happens a lot. Murbit, though, his brain is glitched out in different ways. He's been headshot down, and I hear that's not good for you. Slacks and Cressy will try to recover. Now, these players are very low, but they are very, very deadly. Sergiz takes down 1. Cressy left in the 1v3. Can he get this done? No. No, he can't.
A little surprised that Crazy didn't take more damage after what had already happened, because it came down to a 4-on-3, and beyond that, alternate attacks, they weren't able to get anything done quite off of that. Murbit, though, I think he was the potential game changer in that round with that underpass position, waiting around the corner with the deagle. Unfortunately, though, that is something that did not come to fruition for them at all. Crazy, again, with as much weaponry as they could possibly want, especially against pistols, because, I mean, having a MAC-10, that's cha-ching right there.
Well, early play coming out from Crazy directly in towards B. They're expecting an easy cleanup off an eco round, but they find anything but. Murbit already having found 1 kill. Are they not going to pick up the MAC-10? Is that how it's going to go? Is that how bad they think that weapon is? Well,
then they're mistaken. I'm sorry, they're mistaken, because the MAC-10, I'd go as far as to argue that it's probably better than the AK in some situations when the enemy team is on pistols.
In most situations, if they're on pistols and no armor. Stefan waiting for them to come in his way. The P250 can be very dangerous to mid-air opponents, but that's why they've got a player coming in from short. It will be Sergis to clean him up. Sensei just comes in. He's having a grand old time. I like how effortless these players make that jump scene.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just a 64 tick peasant, so I'll never know.
Well, Crazy are getting into danger territory over here. aTTaX will have a buy coming through, but if they end up failing over here, then we will. I mean, honestly, if aTTaX ends up failing over here, then I don't even know if they can come back into the game. And at that point, 11-8 can be so dangerous. But while we've got a pause going on over here for Stream A, we actually have an update of what's going on with Selecta versus Excellency. We've got ourselves a very fun little second stream, and if you guys want to go check that out, you can go over to twitch.tv/DEBTV2, if I remember correctly. Devin Edward.
Wow, that was a mouthful.
It's difficult, isn't it? But to those of you guys who are wondering, who the hell is Selecta? Well, Selecta is actually the team that Edward has now made. Edward's come out of retirement, or semi-retirement from Navi after such a long time, and he is doing fairly well for himself. Stream A will be back in just a bit, but you can see Selecta not faring all too well against Excellency, which perhaps would be expected. This is one of their more recent outings, but we do come back to Stream A now.
Crazy. I mean, again, it comes down to whether or not Alternate can close out this round, because after this, they put themselves in a position where they pretty much have no money to buy back up, and that's 2 or 3 free rounds being granted to Crazy unless Alternate attacks they somehow come out on top in the eco rounds. Still haven't seen how good Crazy can be against those ecos though, because that is definitely a skill that can hurt, make or break some teams. I mean, you see a lot of teams winning eco rounds and, well, losing gun rounds.
Yeah, that's the curse of French Counter-Strike. Well, alternate attacks. Again, you can see they're not looking to get too spicy. They're not looking to get too aggressive, and this can very often come back to bite them. Flax is the only one who's aggressive, but that means his rotation will be very long. Stefan's found 1. Toxic, who got a bit too far ahead of his teammates, will fall, and Sergis is also blocked up by the flames. He's fighting inside them, but Murbit will take him down. Demcuter to spawn, and Sensei to go for 1 more. Cressy is going to be the next and potentially final death if aTTaX wants to save over here. If they don't, I will be very surprised, because they do not have money in the next round. However, that's a great grenade coming through, even dropping the bomb. And because the players from Crazy are all the way towards the short area, they can't cross over from the market. Now that this is known, Sensei tries to get his movement game on point, trying to come in through the door. Will need to swing out to take down Scrunk soon. Bomb is being fake planted. Sensei realizes where they're coming from, but it doesn't matter because Slacks is too quick. Psycho in a 1v2, 20 seconds on the clock, trying to play the Small little gap in the wall, but they are not coming towards him. They are not falling for this bait. And with only 10 seconds left on the clock, so now he surely has to go for this. Alternate attacks are well aware of where he is, but he's heard them jump down from the market. They didn't do it noiselessly. He'll be peeking out, but Slacks is just too good. The 2 versus 3 retake comes to fruition off the back of one beautiful nade.
One nade that dropped the bomb out in the open, and trying to recover that nade was all that alternate attacks needed to be able to claw their way back. 10-9 though, alternate attacks still with the disadvantage in terms of rounds, but this is a good start for them to be able to capitalize on the positional advantages that naturally come with the CT side. Meanwhile though, they still have a big battle to finish, because I mean, you know how it is on the T side. You always have AKs, you pretty much always have armor, and at the very least you have a little bit of utility. Crazy getting quite a bit of control already here towards apartments, and one player playing towards mid. My guess would be that he's just there as a distraction while the rest of the players move straight into the bomb site. Dem has already taken down Murbit and put alternate in an unfavorable position. They have nobody else on the B bomb site to even try to stop this. This retake is looking next to impossible before it even starts to happen. And unless Slacks can pick up a collateral or something to the point where they get the advantage, I don't think they're going for this. There it is, alternate attacks just straight up going for the save. Good call from them though, because that AWP and that weaponry all across the board will be essential, especially because they even have utility to go with it.
So this is really interesting, because there is a very big difference in what CREYZI is doing, which looks like, oh hey, let's just rush B every round, and why they're doing it. The reason why they're doing it is because in the modern meta of Mirage, most teams will throw a Molotov deep into apartments early on, no matter how many players are on the B side, no matter what's going on there. If it's a full buy, you're throwing that Molotov in, you're posting up close to it, and you're going to potentially try to get some apartments control by throwing a smoke soon after and whatnot. You use a lot of your utility early. aTTaX is just getting too greedy, and you know, you can see in our very fancy scoreboard who's doing very well right now, but aTTaX's greed is coming back to bite them, because CREYZI, when that Molotov isn't there, aTTaX will always be cut off, because the second player is on B side is always going to be playing towards short. There's never going to be 2 players who are watching window early on unless you are expecting a B rush to come through. And as a result of that, alternate attacks generally end up losing the first pick very often, and that's a nice shot from Slacks. Just a small little bump in there as well, but nice shot from him.
Yeah, another bump coming through with the nade.
Yeah.
To shut down Circus once and not for all, because he still has quite a few rounds and potentially a couple more maps to go. Still, very hard graze. CREYZI now with the disadvantage. Still looking quite indecisive, because the bomb is dropped towards the apartments. Now finally picking it up. It does seem like they're set up nicely for an apartments and short split. They still can't get too comfortable though, because getting yourself onto short and being able to move into the bomb site is one of the hardest things to do, especially when you have to worry about the players playing from window and the player playing from connector.
Well, is it going to be another fast play towards B? Yes, it is. Toxic really likes doing that. Finds that first kill, changes up his pathing as well. Stefan is good for the trade, but in the meanwhile, the T's are already on the site. The problem is that they're blind, as Bats Sensei left alone in the 1v3. Alternate attacks have already retaken the site, but they might not realize where Sensei is. However, Slacks is ever vigilant, Slacks is ever watching, and Slacks is never caught off guard. 10th round comes in from alternate attacks. Honestly, I don't even know why, but I'm not praising alternate attacks for that round, because that was really well played. The flashbang timings were literally perfect to catch up Dem Q, and the fact that they're able to catch him off with the molly in his hand is great. But Toxic has changed his pathing when he's entering the B side every single time, and he's almost always recognized where the first tool is going to be accurately almost every time, which is really cool to see from an entry fragment.
Yeah, that pretty much gives them one advantage to that. They need, and Murbit and Stephen, though, immediately shutting down any potential of an advantage for the T side, as they've already lost 2 players before they can graze the opening of the B bomb site. They didn't even make it through the door, and, well, there it is.
Well, CREYZI Well, I said they could start to run away with things. They are maybe when you're forced to just run away in general, not with things, just generally run away.
Oh yeah, but with the kind of money that they have, and what's their loss bonus at? I mean, I'm always gonna pester you with this question because I can never keep track of the rounds.
I think but I might be wrong about that one.
Yeah, I think saving is actually, even though you don't see it much on the T side, it might actually be a decent call to make.
I mean, you're on eco in the next round anyhow. You can try and get some damage in over here, but the problem is that if you don't get damage in and you let the CT stay alive with 5 players on, the CTs are going to pat you on the back and say thank you so much about that, because they already have 3 AKs. Their buy is almost as strong as it can be. So taking away a few of those is very important. CR4ZY will find one. And in the meanwhile, Slacks scouts out the other and will take him down as well. They keep 4 players alive. They keep 4 players honest. They keep 4 players in the next round to bump up that economy even more. You can see Slacks is sitting on 8k. He can actually drop to Strong if they want to, but considering he is the opera, he probably wants to, you know, save that for a rainy day.
Yeah, that AK-47 being taken out of their hands, though, that's good damage being done, but it's quite late in the game. Of course, that still means a lot, though, because we can potentially still see 7 rounds to go. However, as the rounds go by, the economy disadvantages become much less impactful unless they end up with no money on the last round. Crazy, though. Pistols all across the board. I mean, we saw this coming because they had no money to work with in the previous round. They bought up as much as they possibly could, and now alternate attacks, they've put themselves in a solid position where they're insured for at least a couple rounds. I mean, even if they lose this one, they can still buy up in the next. So
I'm sorry, what is this going on here? It literally looks, you know what this looks like, because of how cool our like overlays and everything. It literally looks like there's tiny people trying to go Super Saiyan. Guys, need a new camera. How can we still see them in this camera view? Okay, that is
there we go. Now we can see them.
That's enough of the tiny Super Saiyan adventures. We are gonna have the Super Saiyan now going after Frieza. Slacks is not taken down. He hasn't shown his full power in this anti-eco yet, and hopefully he doesn't, because if you have to show your full power against an anti-eco, it's kind of like trying to kill Krillin with a full-powered Frieza. A bit of a waste of time.
I know you've watched like 3 episodes of Dragon Ball, but don't worry, I've watched 4.
I've literally seen every single episode there is, except for the terrible Dragon Ball Super, which I think is just a bad show. Anyhow, back to this one before I say more things that are probably seen as controversial. aTTaX sitting on 12 have now taken the lead after that very successful anti-eco round. Money is also increasing and going nowhere but up, but Demq is taking Cressy down. He moved past the smoke early on just to make sure that he had a nice little vantage point to avoid all flashes, and Cressy was not quite ready to pre-fly into it. And all said and done, though, it is still 4 versus 4. Toxic being the first casualty over towards B site. That was where I believe Merbit was able to catch him off by getting aggressive early on. Merbit changing things around just a bit to make sure that he can catch Toxic off guard before he actually enters onto the site as he has in the past.
With mid not being contested, Sensei should be able to lead the charge towards short. CR4ZY to follow. And with only 1 player in B apartments, this is going to be very difficult for alternate attacks to deal with unless the rotations come in soon. 4 players charging the B bomb site now. Flashbang rolls out from Merbit. Very nicely placed because that allows Steven the cover that he needs to be able to swing out wide and pick up a kill. Sensei, though, he comes around, gets 2 as it's a lineup. And there's a retake coming through. Definitely still duel for alternate, though, because as the numbers dwindle, it becomes a lot easier for the retake to happen. Psycho planting the bomb now. Shouldn't be too long before alternate attacks find their way onto the site just yet. Not spotting the player on bench quite. Sensei losing a little bit of HP. Psycho coming around the corner, though. Ooh. That happened before my eyes could even track it.
Well, that's just how Slacks rolls, man. Slacks on CT side is a completely different beast than what you see on Terra's side. You can see on T side, I think he had like 5 kills towards the end of a half or something on those lines. Slacks comes alive on CT side Mirage. It's actually one of the reasons why I believe aTTaX's T side isn't really the best in the world for Mirage, and why their win rate isn't the best in the world for Mirage. But you can see Merbit did a lot of the heavy lifting there as well. But Slacks, his numbers have slowly started to climb up and is now close to matching Merbit and Stefan. And like I was saying, one of the reasons why aTTaX's win rate on Mirage isn't as high as it is because of the fact that on T side, Slacks still tries to rely on an AWP. And because of how heavily built around Slacks' team is, it doesn't really work out for them too well just because of Mirage being Mirage.
Yeah, and you really start to see him shine when he comes out on the CT side, because that's where the one thing about Mirage is that CT-sided AWP can be really powerful. So you see this stark contrast between T-side AWPs being really underpowered and CT-side AWPing being really good. It brings you to the point that some players can truly only start to shine when they're on their preferred side. And you can sometimes see that pull through when Slacks is trying to rely on the AWP on both ends. Crazy though. Wait, is this a tactical pause or a technical one? I'm not 100% sure, because generally it shows the direction of the pause.
Well, it was a tactical, but I think it's transitioned into a technical. So probably what happened was that Crazy was asking the admins for a technical pause, and then when that didn't come through, because the admins just having a quick glass of water, having a cup of tea, and they call for a tactical. And within a few seconds, our good old admins at 9to5 from Reload came in, and they did what they needed to.
Speaking of doing what you need to, you have to go ahead and check out the Esports Bible's pinned tweet for your chance to win a main gear gaming PC. All you need to do is retweet and participate in Esports Millions. Esports Millions Round 2 is now live, and this time Unicorn are offering everyone who participates a chance to win a Main Gear Vibe Stage 3 gaming PC. Now that's something that T-Time needs to get in on, because his PC is horrible. Yep. The top 50 answers will also share $5,000 of Unicorn bets. You know what that leads up to?
What does that lead up to?
The game. But also the €1 million giveaway during Cups 3 and 4. No hoax, no scam, this is real. Get involved at ukrn.io/esportsmillions.
And we've also got some involvement on this A bomb site. Cressy's already found 2. They're anti-force by kills / anti-half by kills, but they are valuable, as DemQ will show us why. DemQ is the next in line to be a casualty, but he will not go untraded. A 2 versus 2 is still there. Psycho, however, cannot recover that weapon. The flashbangs will not matter too much. Merbit is positioned perfectly to avoid them. He will not be brought down, and although the AK is picked up, there just isn't enough time. And the quick shot that he was able to get in was through a wall. Merbit keeps himself alive. The 2 versus 2 goes the way of the CT side, and aTTaX is one step closer to that finish line.
That was still a good round from Crazy though, because they barely had anything to work off of, and bringing it down to a 2-on-2, that's still good work coming out from them. But now though, they can't afford to have any more good work rounds. They need to have the best work coming through, because it is 14 rounds for alternate attacks, and they cannot afford to make any more mistakes.
Don't have good work, have best work.
Have the best work.
Have the best work. All right. No, but you're right. Your sentiment is right, at least. The idea of getting a couple of kills onto the alternate attacks economy is such a moot point. They have so much money over here. You can see they are stacked for days, and unless Crazy start to win about 2-3 rounds in a row, alternate attacks shouldn't really be concerned about that sort of a monetary dispense. But that could happen, and maybe that round is more impactful than we're making it out to be. We'll have to wait to find out, as Captain America, also known as Psycho, alternatively just Chris Evans, he is going to come through and try and assist his teammate onto a short and ladder room. Now that they have gained control over that, the problem is aTTaX is now so defensive. Dude, they're just not letting anything through.
Oh yeah, this passivity might actually work out for them. Cressy picks up the first. But Sensei, he's gotten the opening that they need. Skrunk playing from under Palace immediately gets shut down by Toxic. Alternate attacks on the back lines now because they've already lost 3. Murbit and Stephen with their M4s. I think the best move here would be to retreat.
It seemed like Alternate Attacks had a handle on that round as well. The initial picks had just come through like nothing else. You could see Crazy was relying on getting a couple of picks onto Laterum here and there, but they turn things around really nicely. They say, okay, you know what? Now we have the information that there's no one here. Let's just focus all of our attention into going towards Connector, clearing out jungle side and Connector side, and then swinging out to take down anyone on Palace, in Palace, or under Palace. So that's overall nicely done from Crazy, and they hit all of a few very sick shots, including a couple of one-taps here and there, but you are still going to have a buy in the hands of aTTaX.
Yeah, we said this earlier that they had quite a bit of insurance coming into this game, coming into the second half, because they built up such a good round lead and they weren't taking much damage, and that's ideally the kind of position you want to put yourself in on the CT side. And even now, after buying up for a second time, you can see that Murbit still has $7,000 to his name. So very difficult to break the economy of alternate attacks, but it can still be done if they win a couple rounds in a row. Crazy now going for fast plays towards mid. Surges has already taken down Stephen, but Slacks will be responding around the smoke. Cressy smoking it out for himself so he can assist Slacks as he tries to find the angle towards upper mid. The smoke still being up, and as soon as it subsides, the action should start to happen. Molotov rolls out, perfectly placed, but they will smoke it off, so they don't have to take the immediate duel. But now the information is confirmed. Slacks knows exactly where one of the players is. Not sure about the second.
This second Molotov could be the difference maker. Slacks is ready, but they have another smoke. It's utility on utility on utility, and no one is coming out on top. However, Slacks is trying to get a quick flick in. Unfortunately, wallbangs are not very nice to your speed, and because he is slowed down as much as he is, he doesn't feel comfortable or confident in actually going in. The B-bomb site has not been breached for a while by Crazy. And although initially they were showing it a lot of love, this round as well will not quite be the same. Now, the problem of going towards A is the fact that Skrunk is as aggressive as he is. He's already completely ready to have the full flank. Look at how far down Palace Skrunk has gone. This is the point where Toxic, once he's actually trying to force out rotations, unless Skrunk just feels like they're going towards the B-bomb site, where Murbit does scout out Toxic and knows there's a second player there as well. Even going down in the process, you can see Skrunk's been cheated away completely. He's going into his apartments. These terrorists have completely sold this fake. They will never expect it, even if Skrunk does go down. Bomb is planted, and finally it seems like they know. But they also know there is a player in their backlines who they have to be so careful of. Cressy can't catch off the terrorist side player from infiltrating their spawn, and with the flashbang going forward, it seems like it will not matter. Surges does come out on top. Slacks good for one, pulls out the flashbang, chucks it over, could be cut off as he knows Demq is in the back lines, but a 1v2, and Slacks has no choice but to go forward, to go above and beyond.
There's nothing that can be done in that situation. I mean, once you get bamboozled, that's about it. That was so fake. I mean, the timing on that was impeccable for Skrunk, having those players right next to him, but still rotating all the way over to B. That was played to perfection. That's what they need to keep up if they want to take this game away. I mean, they had a pretty big round deficit. I believe it was 14-10 or 14-11, but now that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. They're inching closer to the finish line, and I'm gonna go as far as to say that if alternate attacks lose this round, Crazy are favored to take this game, because then they'll have the money while alternate attacks won't. Blacks, but again, that was the difference maker right there for Slacks to fall to Sensei. That is what they needed to open up the round, and Psycho already having crept in towards jungle. He's picked up the market player, and he's looking for more as his teammates come to assist him all the way from apartments.
Good Good attempt with an 8. I thought he'd wait a little while longer, but it is just Mervin backing off into jail as he smokes off Van. This fake smoke will end up working out. Unfortunately, Toxic over on mid has found his 2 teammates, and with that, Merbert felt pressure to rotate. Sensei takes him down, and that'll be it. Toxic finding 2 kills. That is huge. Toxic's been one of the standout players on this area side who've really been bringing it together. Psycho, unfortunately, is very quiet, though. He's sitting on 8 and 21 at this point. And if I'm not wrong, I think 6 or 7 of those kills were on the CT half. So you can see what an impact it is having on Crazy in how much they are struggling to find these picks at times earlier on. Now, though, that they are forcing aTTaX to play to their game, to move to their rhythm, to dance to their music, other analogies like that, they're feeling much more comfortable.
Yeah, alternate. They seem to have a vice grip on this game. It feel like they were going to cross the finish line, but didn't quite come to that just yet. Stephen, though, winning a very unlikely duel. They're up against the AK-47, but you know how the MP9 can be. Sometimes it turns into the pocket AK-47, even more so than the CZ.
Oh, hold up thought. Stefan does go down, so that pocket AK-47 will drop out of the pocket. And yes, I know that was a real AK in his hand.
Yeah, that was a real AK that he picked up off the ground.
But it drops out regardless. And it was in his pocket before. Sure, why not? Sounds like a dangerous place to put an AK.
Speaking of dangerous places, alternate, man, they're in a really tough spot now, but good positioning from them to try to play off of these close range angles. And if Crazy walk right into this 5-7 needs to come alive. For Slacks, he needs to hit that shot onto Palace, and for Cressy to go ham with the 5-7. These are pretty much the only 2 win conditions that they need, especially since they're up so close, but the connector push is going to be very deadly.
Beautiful shot coming out from Skrunk. That's damn cute to fall, but unfortunately, one shot of beauty doesn't mean it's a round to come out from aTTaX. Merbit, this is the point where he does just look to save. And we are repeatedly finding ourselves at an impasse whenever aTTaX and Crazy go up against each other on Mirage. It seems like overtime is just written down in their destiny. However, they're still 1 round away. Merbit will fall, but they have 1 more buy in them. This is the time where aTTaX will try to bring it all together. Every single bit of star power, every single bit of divinity, destiny, whatever you like to call it, they will be trying to materialize for that overtime.
Yeah, I think having that much money on Slacks is exactly what they needed to potentially turn the outcome of the game into something else. Crazy. Now getting a little bit aggressive towards mid, but they don't quite commit to it just yet. aTTaX, though, on the other hand, they have an answer to this. They pushed up close, and with 1 player being flashed out of his mind, Stephen is able to push up, pick up 1, tries to go for the second, but that's 2 players to fall for the CT side. This allows Sensei to quickly make his way towards B, but he still has the opposing Opper to worry about. Getting a little bit slow here as they wait for their teammates to reconcile, come through with the bomb. But aTTaX, they're going for this gamble. They're committing. They've thrown quite a bit of utility now, but I think this quick adjustment is exactly what they needed. They've come back to the A-bomb site, and now Crazy, they're looking a little bit indecisive themselves. They tried to throw a fake there by having 1 player towards A, but now they have a bit of a disadvantage here, especially with Sergis that low on HP.
Overtime very much on the cards, but Cressy's death will not be helping those odds whatsoever. Slacks is going to be forced to go for the long rotation back from CT, and you're always going to have an eye out on Skrunk. Will they be expecting him to push all the way into Palace is the question, and they should have an idea. Sergis is checking all of these angles. He will move forward. He will not get the kill. It's a 2 versus 2 yet again, and they do not feel safe in getting the bomb plant out. Sensei, AWP at the ready, and do they realize there's someone here? Sensei knows there's Slacks behind him, and the second he gets the first kill, he will reveal his position. Skrunk is going to be peeking out soon, but Sensei takes him down with a quick no-scope, and Slacks Now you find out what it feels like to have the bomb planted against you. Sensei on the other side of that crosshair, fighting for overtime. He's done so much so far. 3 kills for Sensei. Throws out the flashbang. Slacks has been put away from that bomb and is now going for it again. Sensei needs to peek out. He knows that he will not be checking, but Slacks, does he have the time? Seems like he does. It will be overtime and alternate attacks. Somehow or the other, take it away off the back of a 1 versus 1 where Sensei looked like he'd done everything, but Slacks is not letting go just quite yet.
Oh yeah, Slacks played that to perfection to come out, and the fact that he committed for so long after tapping the bomb, just waiting there with the AWP, man, that was a solid 1 versus 1 coming out from him, and unfortunate for Sensei because of, like he said, he'd already done so much for the team. He'd already picked up 3, but didn't quite get that 1 versus 2 there.
Still beautifully played round from Skrunk as well over there to get them here. Now Skrunk's been rewarded. Skrunk's been given a big old AWP to work with, to play around with, to say, hey, we value you and your contribution, even if you did over-rotate and lose us that 1 round.
Crazy though, it seems like leaving their bomb close towards B apartments and having 2 players play B, 2 players on mid, it does seem like they'll eventually be going B, but there's still a lot of time on the clock, 1 minute and 10 seconds, and no engagements have happened just yet. Alternate attacks, they've shown a few signs of not being as passive as they were initially, but still, I think they're going a little bit back to their roots because now they're playing 1 player off of ladder room and 2 players just huddled up into the bomb sites. Slacks, though, trying to find that early pick towards connector might just be what they need before this mid push gets a little too dangerous and a little too hard to control.
Ooh, flashbang coming into ladder room. Cressy's found that first. Sensei, who will be able to find 1, is quickly smoked off though, and does he realize Cressy's actually right hot on his heels? Demq getting aggressive, finds a perfect timing. Skrunk isn't checking the angle, and it leaves Slacks alone, and alone he will die. A 2 versus 2 is still there though, as Cressy brings it all the way back. Demq keeping an eye out on connector while he tries to foray towards a bomb, but Toxic is in the back lines. Toxic is lurking. Toxic will find the head. The CT turns around in time. Cressy with 8 seconds on the clock. Demq can't get it done.
Alternate, such a solid round from them. Pretty much winning out all the duels that they needed to there. 16 to 15. They've gotten their foot through the door in overtime. Now Crazy. Lucky for them that this is a 16K overtime.
Well, Slacks somehow finds that kill. It looked like the flashbang should have been catching him off, but Demq perhaps slightly misthrown over there. Still, Psycho edging in onto the bomb site. Sensei around the corner. Murbit, he's being so careful, and rightfully so. Stefan catches out Psycho. Stefan is waiting for more to come his way, but he is just hiding out in the back lines. Murbit forays into the fire, and he will get yet another. What a step up we have seen from Alter Attacks heading into this overtime. Sensei will be cut off. He was trying to find that kill through the smoke and will be able to do so at the end of the day, but it is a 1 versus 3 and his position is very well known. Doesn't look like it should be possible for him to get much.
Alternate again with 3 players alive. Sensei, he's gotten 2 kills already. He keeps finding himself in these positions where he's done so much for the team already. He needs to fight yet another uphill battle to try to get another round. Skrunk though around the corner. Will he fall to the Tech 9? Nope. Picks it up nice and easy. 17 to 15. Alternate attacks not having dropped a single round just yet in overtime. Lucky for Crazy though, the economy will be of no concern because, hey, when you're in overtime, baby, it's all money.
You say that, but not when it's 10k. Fortunately, we are playing the superior overtime, which is 16k. So, indeed, it is all money for now. But with that being said, let's also keep an eye out for Slacks, as he will be flashed off and not doing much. This is going to be difficult, though, if Skronk loses his life early on, and indeed he does. Crazy have been given the first advantage after a very long time. aTTaX have been taking away the first few kills for the past few rounds, and without that, my question is, can they adjust?
Crazy though, they've already picked up the first. It's been a while since they've had that privilege. Window now smoked. Alternate attacks getting a little bit up close and personal to try to get early information, and that might be exactly what they need because they've already lost a player, so information is what they need to play off of. And with already 2 players on the B bomb site, they've set themselves up quite nicely should this become a short push. But no, I think Crazy are making their way towards connector. They've already had 2 players push up. Slacks, the sole defender of the A bomb site here, he's trying to find these corners, but he only picks up the player in Palace because, well, if you're in connector.
Ooh, Crazy is only good for 1. That's the problem, as a 2v3 will be very difficult without utility, and all of these players being clustered around connector collectively. Sensei, easy kill for him. There's no way Merbit gets this with an AWP. Just can't get the job done. And they are going to check him one by one. Merbit just peeked by Psycho. Psycho takes him down. 16th round from Crazy. And again, it all comes down off the back of some very good trading after they get the early pick off. And aTTaX just can't get the job done. However, now the question is, how do they adjust on their terrorist side? I've talked a lot about how I think Slacks on the T side can be a bit of a liability, and because of how incredibly important he is to his team, that can be difficult to deal with. So Slacks, all eyes are on him, and if not him, maybe Cressy can be the one who's stepping up. Maybe Merbit can be the one who's stepping up, but someone needs to step up to drive them across that finish line.
Oh yeah, and Slacks has picked up the big green liability yet again. Well, white and orange, because he has the good old Asimov, but jump boost will come through. Oh, run boost, my bad.
All of them are boosts, it's okay.
Crazy though. Ooh, Crazy are getting quite aggressive here towards ramp, which means they might have the early information necessary here. Look at Merbit though, hopping around, he spots the head, and there it is. That's the opening that they needed. Crazy already losing a player on the CT side. Now Demq, he has to try to fend off this bomb site all alone. If he loses his duel, this would be a crucial one, and he does. 5-on-2 as Crazy are put back on the back lines. And ATN, they go into overdrive as they keep all of their players alive despite all of those individual plays being made there. I mean, Merbit, he got 2 quick entries all alone, no help required from his team.
And Skronk does the same towards mid as well, so generally really nicely done. Like I said, we needed to see some of the players stepping up on the T side, and that's exactly what's come through. You don't want Slacks to be the only real threat. You don't want a single carry threat team ever within the tier 2 scene, within the tier 2 European scene especially, because there's always going to be a chance that he gets flashed off and killed, because no matter how good your team structure is, no matter how good that individual player is, it's not that good that one player can play completely unhindered. It's very difficult to do that. I've only ever I actually, you know what I'm thinking about? I've literally never seen a team underneath top 20 be able to do that in my life. So, you know, you can't really rely on Slacks on the T side to be able to do everything, especially on a map like Mirage where his op is not going to shine out the brightest. And that's where you've got Merbit, that's where you've got Skronk. They both step up in this round, and just generally some nice stuff from them. Sensei is batting his stats, but beyond that, oh, okay. Steals an AK, so maybe there's some impact there, maybe.
Listen, man, an AK on the CT side, that's deadly. If you hold that close corner, that one-tap headshot is all is the game changer there.
That's by a deagle.
Oh no, that does not have the rate of fire necessary for the operation.
Hey, you said one time headshot. That's all we talked about.
Runk though, getting pretty close to the smoke here, and Crazy will have to abandon mid control because they've been smoked off. Already too much space being given to the T side to maneuver around connector. Psycho though, this nade could potentially be very juicy, but it is not. How do nades work in this game? I'll never figure that out. But Psycho though, he knows exactly how the T side is working, but he does not get the kill. Sensei though, big job on his hands as they move into the A bomb site. One coming in from ramp and two from connector. They're jumping around on his monitor as Stephen comes in through to put an end to his misery. Demq and Toxic now coming in for the retake. This could potentially be the map win for Alternate Attacks. They've put themselves in a nice position for this. Cressy though comes around the corner, 2 quick kills, and the retake will be botched before it even starts to come through. 19-16 for Alternate Attacks.
All of that being done, we are not done yet, just quite. As it turns out, we've got to get our faces on as well. I thought that was the thing for this tournament, but it's all right. We're going to be back with second map in just a bit, though. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. There'll be some great stuff coming your way. 0 beats overtime. I don't think
yeah,
it
that's
happened, but I just think a 16-0 is pretty. Like, I see a lot of overtime. I don't see a lot of 16-0s.
Crazy though. Listen, man. Crazy won the first. Oh, did Crazy win the knife round just now, or did alternate attacks? I'm not sure because the HUD was a little bit messed up for me.
It doesn't matter. We'll find out eventually one day.
Okay, Crazy won the round.
All right, that is convenient. There you go. You got an answer.
Yeah, but they won the first one, they won the second one, and they have the better knives. So I mean, who are we really fooling here, Valve? Come on. Oh, did you know that at one point there was actually a bug where some knives were faster than others? Like, for real. The
Which
bayonet
ones?
was
Was it the butterfly or not? That's the question.
No, the bayonet was the slowest, and the shadow daggers were the fastest.
You know what they're called? Shadow daggers. I can live with that. You know, I can live with some, you know, Batman stuff coming out from the shadow daggers. Speaking of Batman stuff, they have tagged their own teammate down. It's Sensei, having taken a little bit of damage to himself, and Sensei will come through immediately after with a kill as well. DemQ to take down Murbit, but the trade is there from Slacks. However, Sensei's not done yet. It seems like he's given up a blood sacrifice, and that blood sacrifice just gives him a whole lot of kills afterwards.
Pressy being left all alone.
Cult?
Oh, by the way, Crazy has not won a map yet. So, like, if anybody's watching, they need not be confused that, hey, well, how is it that they've only played one map so far and both of them have gotten a map? Well, sometimes when it's overtime, it's too intense of an overtime and it turns to a map win for both. No, just kidding. It's actually just a win for alternate attacks.
We fixed it. We fixed it.
Yeah, there we go.
Can Cressy fix this round? It's a 1v3. Can he get it done? He's inching through 50 seconds. He does actually have quite a nice angle, but the problem is he's not expecting that quick play there. And now that he's revealed himself, it is just hello and goodbye. Crazy taking it away, winning out that first pistol round. Very important for them as well. Like I said before, when they played up against Navi Jr., they only had one CT side pistol win. So this is the side where they will very much be tested.
Yeah, Vertigo, always a bit of a mixed bag when it really comes down to it. Alternate attacks, though, they've bought up as much as they can. 5 Deagles across the board, and one of them will come to play. Skrunk already shutting down Psycho, but Surges immediately responds. Ooh, for a second there I thought that kill might have connected, but it didn't. Now that's the information being given away, and alternate attacks, they've gotten their foot in the round. Let's see if they can get anything off of that, though. Still, they have recovered an MP9, which is probably the best thing to give up as far as Crazy is concerned, because they've got FAMASs and M4s across the board. DemQ, though, very pivotal position to be in as they move in to the ramp area. Slacks immediately falls. Sensei falls up as well with the M4. Now they're moving in towards ramp. Stephen has picked up one, but Sensei, he's just now. Can he get more?
Cressy and Stefan trying to give pursuit, as Sensei did back off. Cressy's the one who's picked up the MP9, but the Deagle is his weapon of choice. Unfortunately for him, Sensei is the one who's showing him how one-taps are had. And he's really starting things off very hot right now for Crazy. He's won them the first round, the second one as well, practically all on his own shoulders. And he props them up, takes them all down. There you have it. 2 rounds for Crazy. They get past that first force buy round, which can be oh so deadly to a CT side. Alternate attacks. No, I mean,
got a little dangerous there too. I mean, getting Skrunk getting that first pick and getting a little bit of information. That was the potential for Alternate to get that round. So quite a bit of damage being done to Crazy as well. So now we'll be seeing them on 2 MP9s to potentially recover their losses. On the other hand, because Alternate bought up entirely, now they're on Tech 9s. They're going for a save.
Well, you could still see the Tech 9 come through and getting a couple of kills. That's always the problem. It's a good weapon. It's a pretty strong weapon. Psycho also has a pretty strong weapon. It's the MP9. He's got a couple of nice stickers on it too. Actually, it's a very cool MP9 to be honest. He's going to swing out, finds himself almost the first kill, but can't finish off. Instead, has to flick for Murbit, takes him down. Toxic in the back line, trying to give any sort of assistance possible, and that is actually some pretty damn good assistance. He will just clean them all up, and there you have it. Crazy.
Look at Toxic though, the confidence there. He's just inspecting his weapon as they walk in.
You gotta know what you gotta know what you're dealing with. You know, he's just making sure all the bullets are in check. The gunpowder isn't wet. He's got a bullet in the chamber. You know, gun safety's off and everything. That's what he's doing. That, you know. Yeah,
probably the best thing to do while there's a storm of 4 people coming your way. Crazy though, they've picked up yet another round. Alternate attacks now. Finally, an AWP in the hands of Slacks and guns all across the board. And I think the AWP can be a really strong weapon towards ramp, and it will show to be as DemQ tries to push up close before the smoke even pops off.
Oh, so much damage dealt through the smoke. Sensei already down to 41, and he has been the pivotal boy for the CT side. aTTaX can still choose to back off and go over towards B, where there is only one player, but they are not ones to shy away from adversity, at least until they have discovered the adversity in the first place. Now that Psycho has revealed himself, they should have an idea that there could be a player playing close to the tin wall. That's why the wallbang attempts are coming in as well. Surgis is not really too phased by them. I wouldn't mind seeing a boost come through from the CT side over here. Just try and get a bit of a vantage point while your Molotovs are going on, but it is obviously very risky attempt. Skrunk as well. Just making sure there's no one making that smoke into one way by getting on top of the default box. And now he's moved past with the wall of smokes down. Skurgis takes the duel and wins it out initially, but it's next. Just going to be a few T's. Getting kills all over the place. Stroxy, did he push through the smoke? He did. He found 2 of his own, but Sensei should fall in the end. Very chaotic round coming out. Sensei not much HP. Is already tagged down heavily. The nade will not help.
Oh yeah, Toxic has already done so much. Can Sensei follow it up? He already denies the bomb planter. 10 seconds to go. The pressure is on Slacks now to potentially pick up the kill or get the bomb down. He's coming around the corner. He goes for a pot shot, and now he will commit to the bomb. Bomb now planted. Sensei, ball back in his court, and he's trying to find the angle here on Slacks. Slowly moving into the site now. Ramp. Ooh, man, this is going to be such a tough duel for Sensei to find because he's allowed so much breathing. Yeah, he's been getting really good with these 1v1 duels on Mirage, but can he follow that up? Surgis, though, before he falls, he will be damaging Skrunk down to 20 HP, and Sensei playing around the box, but it's not going to matter because DemQ, he gets up close and personal. He shuts them down before they get a chance to wiggle around a little bit. Ooh, Cressy, though, around the smoke, picks up DemQ, and that'll put him in a 1-on-3.
Cressy looking to replicate some of the success that Crazy Sensei has found. 4 kills. 40 seconds on the clock. Bomb on his back, yes. But with that flashbang going out, that does reveal his position, and the flashbang will be bringing back certain rotations of a hair. They have a nade and a Molotov too. That is the biggest problem. His own Molotov will fly through. The question is, do they feel brave enough to chuck out theirs? Bomb will be planted. Molotov will not spread in time. Cressy's not even tagged. They might not realize where he is because of the fact that he wasn't tagged. They don't know that the molly didn't spread. Do they realize it is planted on default? Yes, they do. Toxic peeks out. Easy one tap for him, and he will make short work of it. 5th round for Crazy, and again, quick reminder, this is aTTaX's best map by a mile.
Oh, yeah, because we saw the win percentages earlier in the pregame. I mean, they almost have a 90% win rate. And to see them struggling so early on, I mean, I'll admit it was off of the back of that one clutch. But still, to see them struggling 5-0, it's a bit of a surprising sight to see. But now they have the opportunity to bring it back. They have 5 AKs and pretty much all the utilities they could need. Lacking a little bit lackluster because they don't have Molotovs on 3 people. Still, Crazy. They're not too happy about the previous map, and Skrunk, he's opened up the kill as he takes down DemQ.
That helps. That helps. Random kills through the smokes do help. Sensei Playing around the corner is good for a quick shot. Stefan was trying to overwhelm, but he is not able to do so. Scrunk realizes where the player behind Sandbags is, but Psycho is the one who swings out from concrete to take him down. A 4 versus 3 suddenly, with the alternate attacks finding a kill through the smoke. You felt like this would be the round where they start to bring it back, but Toxic, perfectly timed smoke from him as well. It'll be giving him a bit of a one-way as they come through it and try and swing out. Toxic takes Merbit down, and now he's just positioned perfectly. Cressy will be next to fall. Toxic's just waiting, and Slacks, he realizes where Toxic's hips are, but those hips are lying, Slacks. You just can't find them. You just can't take them down. Bomb will be recovered. Slacks is peeking out. Does he reveal himself? I think they saw
flank, though.
The barrel of his gun. And you have that flank. It has just locked him down. Slacks can't go anywhere. Slacks can't find anything. Slacks does get that quick flick somehow or the other, leading him into some possibilities of going back towards A. Now he does realize where the CTs are coming from. He's tracing it across the wall. Slacks knows exactly what's going on. He's going to come through. He knows where that player is. That Molotov coming out will only reveal the position. Slacks is ahead with another one. It's a 1 versus 2 from a 1v4. It looks possible. He needs to swing out. Almost gets the kill, and Sergis will dash his dreams and smear his hopes. It will be a 6th round for Crazy.
That was so doable there. I mean, if Sergey had fallen, that would actually be the advantage for Slacks, especially because Toxic was all the way on the other. Well, he was still on the start on map number 2. They're not too happy about what happened in map 1, and they look to have a response. They don't care if it's alternate attacks his best map. They've got a few tricks up their own sleeves. Sturgis, though, he demonstrates why Crazy is so upset about the first one. 3 quick kills, and well, alternate, man, they can't seem to catch a break here.
I don't know what's going on. Alternate attacks, they are being read like a book. Crazy has done their homework. And this is the advantage of having a few days off, I suppose, as Slacks will be taking out another one. Cressy again makes it competitive, and that competition is increasing. And somehow, the most unlikely of rounds is taken away by attacks off the back of a few nice deagle taps.
Listen, let me break it down to you with my bot statistics degree. They have a 100% win rate in eco rounds and 0% in gun rounds. So you know what I'm saying?
They've lost an eco before as well. What are you talking about?
Hey, we don't talk about that.
It's not like they had 6 gun rounds before this.
Crazy though. Oh, there's a tactical timeout coming. Not something that I expected straight off the bat.
Their money's gone though. That's the problem. Their money's really bad now. Sure, Toxic and Sense can drop, but
yeah,
it's getting to that point where attacks can maybe start to swivel back into a 9-6 half, but an 8-7 if they're lucky.
But it's alternate attacks. I mean, we've seen them go crazy on Vertigo before. Let's see if they can go crazy on Crazy, and that is why I'll never be hired for a good broadcast. 6-1 though. Alternate attacks. You can really see the pressure building on them because they're struggling to take control of ramp. Crazy has been so good with this ramp control. They've gotten up close and personal. They've won out these duels, and even when it comes down to the last wire, they end up winning these duels.
Toxic, his position is pivotal. He sees them coming over, but he can't line them up. Stefan and Cressy are good for 1 apiece. Psycho, however, is responding, and he's doing so in style. 3 kills for him so far, and the bomb has also been located. Alternate attacks, it looked like they had this round down to a T. It looked like they had completely solved the puzzle. But suddenly, they've lost the corners, they've lost the walls. This jigsaw is looking difficult.
Crazy though, they've already lost a player, but that's not going to matter because DemQ has already picked up the second. Slacks, he's been so good in these positions. He spots the barrel, he finds the kill, and he spots the other player as he crosses along, misses the AWP shot, flashbang rolls out, and he has control of the bomb now. He's not looking to plant it just yet though. Goes for the fake plant, comes around the corner. That miss might be the game changer, and another shot being missed. Not something you see from Slacks, and that is where exactly where Alternate Attacks is lacking. They haven't been able to secure those individual kills, and this is where it comes down to bite them. I mean, this could have been 6-2. This could have been what they needed to come back into this, because the economy on the CT side would be entirely broken, and now we see how Crazy get the opportunity to build back up. I mean, granted, they still don't have much money, but still, that's Alternate Attacks' chance gone.
Again, the caveat is you can still see attacks shutting down the CT economy. But Psycho, with those 3 kills, using just a farmers when his position has been found, he used that headshot angle to perfection while they were trying to walk up. And that's generally even, like, you consider that a bit of a 1 and done, maybe a 2 and done at most. 3 kills is almost impossible, because at one point you will just get tapped from an AK. Especially when you don't have an M4A4 or an AUG. But he just solves that round all on his own, and let's be honest, Mirage was not the best performance from Psycho, but he is very much making up for it at this point, come Vertigo. So, can attacks now start to try and break the CT side economy? That is the question. They've slowed things down a lot more. No damage has been exchanged. Utility's still pretty good on either side. Crazy have been nice and conservative with their usage. And even now, they're not willing to rotate away back to B, back to A. They are very much playing a 2-1-2 setup and waiting for first contact.
Crazy now just waiting for Alternate Attacks to move in. Stephen almost finds the angle there, but it'll actually be Skrunk that picks up the first. That's the opportunity to get the bomb down, and Crazy being forced out of their positions. They're pretty much straight up deciding on a save. There's no way they can get back into this, because once you have control of the A side to the extent where you have 5 players, Vertigo is just one of those maps that has a billion angles that you honestly can't take care of once you've already given up too much control. So early contest is the game changer. It's the one thing you can do on Vertigo to get the advantage for yourself. If you give that up, that's it. You have to go for the save. Good call from Crazy, though. They don't have much money, and they recognize that.
Yeah, this is a nice change. I will say that Alternate Attacks, despite us expecting them to, honestly, I'll be perfectly honest. We said this in pregame as well. We expected Alternate Attacks to steamroll Crazy on Vertigo, and so far it has very much been the opposite. But now a slightly more measured pace, slightly less. Let's immediately take contact somewhere or the other. They're slowing things down. It worked for them. Crazy's timeout could change things. So remember, I said this before as well. Crazy has one of the most veteran coaches in all of Counter-Strike. Jonta has been around for years now, and he's coached so many different teams. He's coached so many different iterations and versions of the game. You know that he will come through in pauses and potentially make a difference. So I'm a little bit worried for attacks, but this round will be what shows whether or not they're ready to make the difference and really try to make a comeback in this half.
Yeah, Alternate Attacks, as hard as it is to admit, you have to understand that there were just some pivotal moments that they lost out on that they shouldn't have. So definitely still a case to be made here. They haven't lost a half just yet. 7-2, they've put themselves in a decent position now. Skrunk, though, he comes through the smoke. He's not losing these duels anytime soon. He's coming alive, and that might just be the opening that they needed. Quite a bit of attention here towards mid. Toxic, solo defender of the B bomb site, so you might just have to deal with this 1 versus 1 here. Alternate Attack, they seem dead set on going towards B. They're pushing into Connector, but Murbit immediately gets taken down. Psycho follows it up with a Deagle kill on the Stephen, so that's Connector cleared, and that's just the stairs that Toxic has to deal with. Cressy left alone in a 1 versus 3. We've seen these players come alive before, but is it possible again? Cressy hasn't quite been able to show up just yet. This might be the opportunity that he required. 1 kill already for him. Coming around the smoke, he picks up the CT, trying to get a little bit too cheeky. Bomb dropped. Sergiz holding the angle to Famas. He has the gun advantage. Can he pick up that kill? Headshotting him through the wall. Sergiz is down to 10 HP. That might just be the window required. Bomb just about to go down now.
We've seen so many of these situations where aTTaX have been given a chance to get out of 1v2. Cressy now with information of the op as well. He's been tagged up a little bit. The question is, can he isolate? And it seems like he may have just done it. He knows exactly where CR4ZY is. CR4ZY will be brought down. He needs to keep that gun out and ready. He's trying to go for it, but the bullets are simply not enough. Cressy, again, brings it back to 1v1. How many times are we going to see aTTaX being able to do this? How many times? But CR4ZY's always the one that comes out on top. Heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm going to go out to say that had he gotten that kill on CR4ZY, that might have been the round for him, but a little unfortunate that he headshots him through the wall instead. So when it comes down to the 1 versus 2, he had to give away his position to Sensei pretty much for free, where he could have had the aim duel advantage because he had the better weapon. Meanwhile, though, quick update on Selecta versus Excellency. Excellency having won the first map, and Selecta, the brainchild of Edward, looks like they're starting to show signs of life on map number 2.
Could be interesting. If you're interested in that, you can obviously guys that on with twitch.tv/TebTV2. That's TEBTV2, as in the number 2, not the TWO2 or TWO2 or even TO2. We are going to be going back to our own map in just a second, though, as we do have CR4ZY versus aTTaX resuming. It is going to be aTTaX still very much on the back foot, and I mean, their morale has to be down in the doldrums too, but CR4ZY. I mean, they are not a vertigo team. That is just the simple truth. And the fact that they have brought this together means they must have put so much practice into this. And to see that come alive, come into fruition, they've got to be feeling so good right now. And Stefan, the opposite can be said of him. As he is forced back and doesn't realize that alien lane control has been regained yet again.
Alternate aTTaX. Team pretty dead set on getting ramp control. Sensei, though, the master of these close range angles, he's able to pick up one before he falls. Dem Q, though, Famas in hand, has shut the doors for Skrunk. Murbit losing quite a bit of HP here as he tries to contest ramp. The nade will be juicy as Slax and Cressy lose almost half of their HPs. Dem Q again coming alive with the Famas. Slax to fall. It just becomes very difficult for alternate aTTaX to get anything done when they're getting sandwiched all across the board. And this is, there's something I wanted to touch on that you mentioned earlier. You mentioned that CR4ZY must have practiced this a lot, despite the fact that they're not a vertigo team. They're not able to come back. They're able to beat out a team as so far, like alternate aTTaX. But yeah, as far as this map goes, they're beating alternate aTTaX. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that it really hasn't been as much of a team play effort being shown as much as the individuals have been coming alive, because you keep seeing them come down to the last wire. And when you're talking about the CT side, one round can go such a long way because of how the economy works. These clutches, they're not just 1 or 2 rounds, they come down to materializing into much more.
That's true. No, I agree with that, but you also do see in the way, you know, a lot of these players are moving, in the timing that they're getting, in how, for example, we saw Sensei regain lane control later on. We saw the Famas being able to aggress forward as well. This is nice from CR4ZY as well. Takes down Stefan for the trade. 1:15 though, and Slax is good for another. It does leave a lot onto the shoulders of Sensei, but maybe Waldadi's right. Maybe this is individual stepping up, and he has been given a podium. Can he come up and speak on it?
Alternate, they've gotten the advantage. Now they're moving into the bomb sites. Sensei trying to hold down the line, spamming through the smoke. Not going to catch anything, but giving away his information. Psycho on the boost, getting a little bit aggressive here. Slacks to pick up the kill, though. CR4ZY. It's been a long time since we've seen them scurry away trying to save their weapons. I mean, Alternate has not really put them in the position to do so, and you can see what I mean now. You can see what I meant by the money, because CR4ZY now, they've lost pretty much all control that they had on the economy. That's not just the 3rd round for alternate aTTaX. That's potentially the 4th or the 5th.
This is... I mean, this is really just telling the tale of how the game's gone, though, Wild Lady, which is that CR4ZY all throughout have been surviving on a limb, and again, all praises for them to do that. Winning out that many 1v1s, finding that many timings, finding that many spaces for your players to get aggressive means you've done some homework. But that limb, that little tree that you're trying to balance yourself on, that might break very soon. That might snap. And like I said before, attacks are continually in this position where they can go for 6. And if they win this round, I feel like they have it.
Yeah, they haven't quite broken down the economy just yet, but if they win this round, they will. CR4ZY getting a little bit aggressive, falling from scaffolding build. That was quite risky there, but somehow makes it back to safety. CR4ZY, though, mollying out Ali. This allows him the mobility to slowly move up ramp. Lots of attention from CR4ZY here towards ramp as well, though. They have a player in alley. They're playing one from ramp. CR4ZY giving away his position as he smokes off the molly, and now he set himself up quite nicely. aTTaX, though, ever so patient, and they're showing why they're the structured team that we always praise them for being. Getting a little bit chaotic here as the nades fly out from the CT side.
Well, Slacks, oh dear. Slacks is still alive, but CR4ZY's been taken down. Murbit to trade away, and with that, they should realize they have alley control too, so this entry on towards the site becomes a little bit easier, but do they realize there's a stack here already? 3 players from CR4ZY are ready to intercept, but can they do so? A good timing on the Molotov will isolate the lane player. Sensei's brought down a 4 versus 2, and the CTs are going to be isolated into 1v1s and picked off. Scrunk, however, loses out his 1v1, so maybe not quite working as planned. Toxic will fall though, and with that, Psycho's left alone. Can he win it out? Doesn't look like it, I say that, but Murbit's very, very low. USB's at the ready. Can they both finish each other off? Yes, Psycho somehow
How does that happen?
4K.
That was a vertical angle up against the USP, and I mean, if you're spraying away at a person that's holding a USP with an AK-47, like 100% of the time, you win that duel, except that one. I don't know how CR4ZY keeps coming out on top in these individual battles. I mean, that was pretty much it for Psycho, but he somehow still ended up beating out Slacks and eventually picking up the 1 versus 3. Now, I know that you're saying that CR4ZY is playing this really well, but man, the stars seem to be aligning here, and they will again for DemQ as he picks up the quick kill on ramp.
Stefan and Sensei trading 1 apiece. But aTTaX again and again. They have had their hearts, minds, bodies, and souls broken. And at 4 versus 3, I don't know how much they can really do.
Yeah, their morale definitely taking quite a hit here. But they've made their way onto the site. Losing the bomb, though, through the smoke. That is brutal. As CR4ZY and Slacks try to keep their team alive here. CR4ZY, though, again, just lining that up. So well played by him. And man, at what point do alternate attacks catch a break? I mean, the stars are aligned for CR4ZY. They've played it so well. I mean, their team play has been there, but their individual skill, it's been popping off so crazily. They've brought it to 11 points. They're on double digits before alternate attacks can even get 4 rounds. Just absolutely brutal chaos coming out from CR4ZY and alternate attacks. You really have to feel for them at this point. The best they can do is 4 rounds, and for a team that is so that prides themselves on their vertigo performance, it's a very difficult hit to be taking. Psycho, though, gets taken out as they make their way towards connector. Toxic holding the line here on B. So crisp and sharp with his aim. He picks up the first 3. Oh. What a lineup there, as that just leaves Slacks in strong alternate attacks yet again, getting shut down by the individual plays coming out from CR4ZY, and DemQ was there to pick it up with 2 kills as well. 12-3, CR4ZY went absolutely ham. You do not expect that lineup to happen. You do not expect one player to pick up 3 just like that, making it look like it's nothing.
That second kill looked accidental. I
know, like, that's why I keep saying, not only are the stars aligning, it's also the players, quite literally.
Dude, this is insane. Crazy. That's at least 6 rounds. I could actually think of at least 6 rounds where the one on like crazy 1v1s, and you know, and then 2 or 3 others which were just individual skill based. Props to them again. You can see these players are much more comfortable than they normally are, which makes a huge difference. That's a lot of practice going into it, regardless of whether you know it's team practice or not. It's hours spent on the map which make you comfortable to go for those clutches. But goddamn.
Yeah, I don't know what we're watching at this point. Is this Counter-Strike or what? Alternate attacks. I think they're fully expecting this. They're ready. The nade stack coming through, something we see quite a few teams go for to try to deny the bomb plant, but it's not going to work, and that leaves 3 players that do not have Kevlar to be able to come back into it. Surgis pushes through, gets 2 quick kills, and alternate attacks again set up for disaster. As the nade stack didn't quite work out for them. I think across 3 nades, they did maybe 20 points of damage.
Oh, Stefan. Still trying to come through. He's hoping for his own Superman cape to be found, but Serges will probably make short work of any such notions that he had. Crazy 13th round on the board, and although alternate attacks looked like they maybe would have been able to come through with a few kills here and there. Crazy's execute was a bit too much. The double smoke and the double Molotov coming through made sure that attacks would only really have been able to prevent the bomb plant and the early kills from coming out if they themselves had 2 nades and a Molotov maybe here and there. But it's so expensive to get that molly on the CT side. Paul pistol round especially. It's just unlikely. Now though, attacks. A fair bit of utility coming in for them. They're hoping to... Well, they're hoping against hope, honestly, at this point, that they can somehow find a way of coming back into this. But a 13-3 scoreline on CT side when you've lost pistol, man, I might actually be ready to write them off.
Yeah, I definitely have some reservations about this as well. It seems very difficult, but replicating the success of Crazy, that is a very difficult ask. Crazy though, they're about to make their way towards the B-bomb site. Murbit losing out on his initial duel. Steven falling on bookshelf as well. That's pretty much the 14 being given away to Crazy, unless Lax can pull off something crazy, which he will not in the face of Galils and AKs. The thing is, for somebody that's just viewing the game, just looking at the scoreboard, it's very easy to think that alternate attacks got absolutely demolished, but you have to keep in mind that it came down to so many 1 versus X situations where Crazy have come out on top, not let their economy fall, and despite all of these rounds getting so close, the scoreline just isn't there to show it.
And Crazy are playing to their strengths. That's what it is. They know their individuals are amazing. Their individuals are, you know, it's a typical CIS team in that sense. All of your talent is somehow just insanely good, but what generally lacks is the team play element. That's what Jonta generally adds to a team. Right now, though, they're going very much back to their roots. They're playing instinctive. They're playing what a style they like. They're playing a style they're comfortable with. And sure, this probably won't work all the time on a map like Vertigo, but it'll give you chances. It'll give you a chance to win your opponent's map pick, and what more can you really ask for? As a young team, especially. Attacks, again on a force play, again feeling like their hopes are, you know, not really existing. And the other thing that I have to start talking about is Inferno's the next map. How does it feel like going into that if you're playing like this as Attacks side? If you're losing at every clutch round, if you're, you know, losing at every 50-50 situation, at one point you start to question yourself just a little bit, and that could be deadly going into the next map.
Yeah, for the first map to be a coin flip and then alternate attacks just dropping the ball entirely on the second, definitely a lot of pressure to be felt on map number 3. Nice little deagle kill for Slacks though. I can appreciate that in the face of what's going on. What can alternate attacks really do here, though? That's the question. I mean, unless they win this round, they pretty much have no route to safety at all.
They need Cressy to get a few crazy deagles to the head. And he's good for it at times, yes, but it seems like this might not be one of them. He's already being chased up by Demke, who takes a lot of utility damage on his own self and will go down to a running, spamming deagle through the smoke. Glax, with his own deagle at the ready, can't really find too much. In the meanwhile, the CTs will have Murbit chiming in instead. Psycho is left, has left the building.
Oh yeah. Toxic though. Ooh. Wait a minute. My brain completely shut off there for a second, and that's what happens sometimes. 14-4 though. Alternate attacks somehow pulling through with one round. But man, are Crazy in a great position to just close it out immediately. They just need 2 rounds, and the thing with Vertigo is that because of all these angles, because of how these aim duels can sometimes unfold, 2 rounds isn't a very big prospect. It's very easy to scrape by 2 rounds, even if you're just forcing up, even if you're just going for these ballsy peaks here and there. Just really have to feel for alternate attacks at this point. But we can't count them out entirely. They have a bit of a buy going on for them. 2 MP9s, a Galil, a Famas, and an M4. A little bit of utility as well. The 3 Molotovs should be essential in denying the potential of a bomb plant. Crazy slowly taking control of mid. Slacks will be the first point of contact to, at the very least, find some information. Molotov rolls out towards connector as the T side make their way in towards mid. Murbit though, solid position from him, but I'm not sure if it's a bit of a one-way for him, because sometimes the spectators cannot see what the players can.
I think that fixed that.
Yes, correct.
Lax around the corner does end up picking down Demque. Murbit as well comes alive with one. Alternate attacks suddenly finding themselves some sort of space over here. Steppen will find space in the skull of Sergis, and Toxic show he's fighting back, but a flashbang will make it impossible for him to do so at the end of the day. 5th round on the board for aTTaX.
Oh yeah, I think because of the fact that Crazy are on the T side, it's pretty much out of the question to keep their economy down, but at the very least, they can't let a single round go away. And the problem for alternate attacks is that it's not enough to win rounds anymore. For them to win, they need to be able to save their players. They need to keep themselves alive and make sure that they don't lose out on guns. And that's exactly what Skrunk is going to help do. Sensei falling to the mighty spray of the MP9, never to be challenged, never to be questioned. The skin obviously having a very fitting name, the Bulldozer.
Oh yeah. Well, aTTaX are finding some sort of ground at the very least. Maybe this can be the game where we see some sort of miraculous comeback. Absolutely miraculous though. But I'll hold my horses for a while.
Yeah, I think the one problem for me is that it's Vertigo. It can go very sour at any time because of how difficult it can be to retake the bomb sites. Sure, B is a little bit easier because of all the angles that you can work around with, and you have the potential of a flank, but the way A is structured, it's just so difficult to do. But Murbit, though, getting very aggressive, tries to go for a second as well. Unfortunately, that brings his team to the disadvantage because, oh, never mind, Skrunk immediately gets the advantage back. Good aggression from him because he recognizes the fact that he can't let them take the advantage home. I mean, at this point, they're sort of swinging their arms wildly. They're trying to grasp at every straw because you cannot afford to lose a single round. And this is something that I like from teams. If you're losing very heavily, that is the time to go for risks. I mean, you're going to lose anyway if you keep playing the way you're playing. That's why you have to switch it up a little bit.
aTTaX have a chance, but again, I don't know, man. I need to see them. I need to see them get to double digits. That's what I want, and it's possible if they win this round out. Remember, the T's are still going to be floundering about with their money without a bomb plan at the very least. Thurgis, who's moved cross, will be entering into Skrunk's crosshair, goes down a bit, and Cressy's got an aggressive too, and backs off immediately. He knows that the Molotov could come in his way. The peak comes out, very bold, very aggressive. Toxic does punish, but not before Skrunk gets his own kill, and Cressy gets information. 14-7, alternate attacks. They're making me want to believe, but I'm going to keep pressing that voice down, because so far we've seen no reason to say that Crazy can't at least get 2 rounds out in the next 8.
Yeah, but you also have to keep in mind that it was, when it really comes down to it, it was Sensei and Toxic stepping it up individually to be able to close out so many of these rounds, and sometimes Sergey is popping off. If they can't do that on the T side, because of course the CT side is feeling very different, and the opportunities being presented in terms of kills, they're very different. If they can't pop off, Crazy might actually be in trouble.
There is also the very important thing to keep in mind that alternate attacks on their CT side can sometimes just seem unstoppable because of the reads that they get, and more importantly because of their anchors. Murbit and Stefan take down any sort of mid-control presence coming in. The Tech-9s aren't going to find too much. Bomb will be going down. Sensei barely manages to get it at the end of the day, so further money guaranteed, but you can see Murbit and Stefan very lucky to get away with as much HP as they have. However, that still means that money is going to continue to be built up on the CT side. And one thing I will say about alternate attacks is I think the anchors on either side can be impossible to deal with. Stefan in particular on B can be left all on his own, and you know he's always going to be good for 2 kills. So that's a huge boon moving forward. But individual pop-offs are always possible. And you're right, it was largely Toxic and Sensei, with everyone else apparently having one clutch or the other at some point from Crazy. But that is where attacks are going to be feeling the heat continuously.
Yeah, but it's a double-edged sword. I mean, if your enemies are constantly clutching and they're relying on that, that means that once those stop coming through, the enemy team could actually be in trouble. Crazy, though, not having too many pop-offs anymore.
Ooh.
Scratch that. Sergiz, he's got him the entry. Is he good for more? Slacks holding the angle towards the box. Control of ramp still in the hands of the CTs. aTTaX definitely feeling the pressure now because they've lost a player. But again, as you mentioned, these players, these anchors can be left all alone and they can still come up with something crazy. Murbit, perfect position for him. Can he find the kill though? He sprays through the stairs, but he gets caught by the refrag. Bad timing to be pulling out the utility, and Crazy again second guessing themselves as they make their way towards A.
Well, Crazy, if they come back into Slacks, his position is perfect. He's good for 1 and backing off. Do they have flashes? Are they going to use flashes to try and force him off the angle? It doesn't look like it. It will be a double peek attempt, and it will not be a kill for Slacks, but he also does manage to keep himself alive while he's trying to back off. Psycho looking to cut him off. Will do so. A 2 versus 3 retake attempt will be there. Cressy immediately equalizes. The Molotov will not land right onto him, which gives him a lot more space to move around once he's put that smoke down. Now a 2v1. Sergey is left. He got the entry. He needs 2 more, but it will not happen.
Oh.
aTTaX played that so well, but how do they not get the kill onto Slacks there?
Yeah, despite the double peek and him missing the shot, just Crazy dropping the ball there. And for alternate, Cressy really popped off. I mean, did you see that micro play there to quickly smoke off the molly and jump
and he blocked
towards...
the molly too.
Oh yeah,
otherwise it would have mollied on top of the, I don't know what that place is called actually. It's
boost.
The boost.
That's
Yes.
what it is. Pretty simple call out. But 14-9, alternate aTTaX showing signs of promise now. This is what I was expecting from them as soon as Crazy stopped popping off with those clutches, and I feel like if those hadn't come through, it would have been a very favorable story for alternate aTTaX to make a case for 2-0. But now Crazy with 14 points, they still have the lead. Unfortunately though, after the pistol round, they're not really able to punish alternate aTTaX too well. Did you see how scared Crazy was there? I mean, as soon as alternate aTTaX, they got aggressive there. They just pushed back through the smoke. They're like, you know what? Nope, we're not taking that duel. A lot of space being given up here.
Yeah, Crazy actually does have the utility to go for a retake bridge setup though. That's the worrying thing for alternate attacks, because attacks realize how much utility has or has not been used in this case. The problem is that attacks have still postured 2.5 players towards that B bomb site. However, I think they got some audio cues of utility being thrown out, and with 48 seconds left on the clock, they feel very comfortable rotating their players back. But crazy, you could say the same for them. B side is not all too far away. However, ramp control is being contested. Initial shots fired. Scrunk is trying to back off. A Molotov from his teammates will assist him in doing just that. Unfortunately for the T's, they can't find any ground and ramp, but they have forced away all the rotations from the CT side, and now that test of those anchors will come in. That B site where the bomb is ready and waiting. Flashbang comes out. Murbit given a chance to peek, but that peek could be deceptive. 14 seconds on the clock. They're going to be turning this corner soon. Murbit is ready. He is waiting. He is spraying. He is spraying, and he is killing them all. 3 kills from Murbit. Perfect timing, perfect placement, and that's what I'm talking about, man. These anchors, they're just that damn good.
Yeah, they capitalized on the fact that the... okay, so... because they're going for a fake, they're expecting the anchors to have rotated even, so they don't check those common angles. He straight up goes for the bomb plant, and that's what Murbit was hoping for. He was hoping for them to be so convinced by their own fake to the point where they quickly try to go for the bomb plant. They thought they had sold it, but he's not buying it. Alternate attacks bringing it back off of these anchors, and now they're having some clutches of their own.
There's obviously also a lot of it coming down to the timing. Reasonable. That's just not fair, Sergis.
Yeah, he's done this before as well.
Just walks through the smoke, flicks upwards, gets a quick one tap. Murbit hoping to find some of that success from the previous round in a slightly different position this time, though. Stefan, come on, man. You can't keep doing this to them, Stefan. Just peeking out again and again. Repositions around as well. He knows exactly what to do, but his teammate has fallen. So in the meanwhile, he just turns around and makes sure he's good for 2. A 2 versus 2 for auto attacks. Can they get this job done with Scrunk on the back line?
Yeah, this is the one round that attacks need to win. They cannot let Crazy inch towards the finish line, and Scrunk will be there on his heels, dragging him away. That brings it just down to Sergis, who has to worry about 2 opposing angles. Slacks now coming in with the AWP, and as soon as he looks away, that is it for Crazy. 14 to 11, and man, you were talking about double digits. Attacks, despite losing a player early on in so many rounds, those anchors always end up going ham, and it's just... they just seem to be winning all these aim duels. There's not much else to say about it.
I said it, man. The one thing attacks has going for them is their anchors on the B side.
Yeah, you called it for sure. I mean, I thought that, okay, like, this is a bit of a stretch. You can't really hope for the anchors to do so much, but they've changed the outcome of the game pretty. Yeah, like, this is beyond belief. I mean, B site is under lock and key. They've shut the doors, and even connector, that's not a possible prospect for Crazy.
The very interesting thing over there, and also very unfortunate for Sergis, is I can guarantee that the call Sergis got was maybe he's in connector, because he just turns around at that second and Slack speaks, which was just so unfortunate. It's, you know, you can call it getting CS:GO'd, you can call it whatever. It did just seem like it was just some sort of bad calm coming in between. He second guesses himself, and the 1v2 that should have been possible ends up working against him. 11 rounds from attacks, and hope is suddenly found yet again, but more rounds also need to come with it. They're still 3 rounds away from equalizing and 4 away from the Magic 15. Crazy. We've seen them come out with some amazing entry kills. We've seen them find some ridiculous shots. They're definitely good enough to do that. And they have been forced back to bridge, though. Ramp control completely given up again early on.
Alternate, they've looked so good on their CT side. Had it not been for those clutches, I think they would have already taken it away pretty convincingly. But now the pressure is on Crazy. Not too much just yet, because they do still have the advantage. But it is still there regardless. One boosted on top of the box. That whiff will cost them quite a bit. Slowly getting control of ramp. Crazy understand that this is the one opportunity that they've gotten themselves. Slacks missing the shot as well, because he's forced off of his position from the flashbang. That might just change things up. Molotov coming through on cement. The position is given away because of the smoke being deployed for Cressy to protect himself. DemQ understands this. And Crazy, for once, it actually seems like they might have the ball in their court.
Crazy have the advantage of being the trailblazers, being the ones who've got to 14, just need 2 more rounds one way or another. Cressy's being tagged up, he's moved inside the smoke, he's barely gotten away, but they might not realize that he's here because of that. Stefan, good nade flies out. Cressy's good for a kill of his own. He got on top of the sandbags for that, and again he has found some cover. Stefan forces them back. The Molotov will assist, and Cressy's just looking to peek out wide. Stefan with 2 more, man. These, it's not even anchors, man, it's just the players. They just go to the other side and they win.
The one thing I noticed about that play is that Cressy held on to his position on cement. Now, what a player would normally do is like, okay, I've already been caught out, so I might as well assist my team in the crossfire. But he sticks to his guns. He stays inside the smoke because that allows his team to capitalize on the tunnel vision that comes through from Crazy.
It's really good stuff, though. All in all, from Alternate Attacks to win out that round. That round looked like it was gone the second Cressy's position was quote-unquote given away.
Oh yeah, Crazy though. They haven't had great experiences with the locks on the B-bomb side though, but do they have the key for this padlock? Stephen, nade primed. This could be so juicy, man. This could be. Oh, I'm just watching it happen, man.
Come on, Stefan. Don't tease us like that. just put it in there. Throw it. You've got this, Stefan. No, all right, Stefan. Stefan's not getting ready to chuck it out anytime soon.
Coming through from bookshelf. Stefan, he spots them. The nade comes through now, but is it too late? He comes around the side. He gets one. Looking for more. He's good for 3 as the lineup comes through, and that's payback for what Toxic did earlier. Alternate attacks, bring it back into the round off of these anchors yet again. Mervid is good for 2 as well, but Slacks, he's giving the advantage a little bit to Crazy. He's like, you know what? I'll give you guys that. I'll just burn up my teammates so you guys have a better chance.
Look at this from Stefan. And the key thing over here is the second player, when he sees the head of that second player jumping across, he knows he needs to peek out before Psycho can come in from his side and take him down. That's why he goes for that aggressive peek. And yes, he lines them both up, and that's amazing. But you can see his awareness of the timings around that particular corner and this particular angle. I would even be fine with calling the double boxes just the Stefan boxes. Because the way he plays
it's
it
called
is
the side
picture perfect.
side. He's been so good on that.
Cressy was there too. Let's not forget him. He had his moments as well. So you can't really just christen it out for all the players who are having their moments. That being said, early advantage yet again coming up for Alternate Attacks.
Alternate, they need this. They've already made their way to 13. Crazy haven't found a glimmer of hope after making it to the second half. I mean, I think the only thing they've done is win the first 2 rounds, if I'm not wrong. Don't exactly have the round breakdown here available with me, but Cressy getting a little bit aggressive along with his buddy Skrunk. They have the information, they know the teaser behind the smoke, and now Crazy will retreat.
They know they backed off. They heard that.
B-side though, again, oh man, it's just seems like such a tough ask to actually try to contest the B-bomb side, but now the information has been given away. They know that it's a pincer from mid and B. Mervid though, this time one of the anchors is going to fall, and Stefan is low on bullets. This is going to be a very difficult proposition for him as he gets shut down. The first time that Crazy have actually found some footing into a round, but Skrunk, he puts down Toxic. Slacks is coming around the corner. Quick little flick to put down them Q, and that's the equalizer there.
Oh. Slacks had a chance to no-scope down the other Opera Sensei with as little HP as he has. He's feeling so much risk. He's wanting to get aggressive one way or another. If he only knew how much HP they had. It just is not meant to be.
He had 10 HP too, though, and he had only 4 seconds to work with. Just,
yeah, but you just flick around, get an aimbot on, make it work.
Now, I think my theory that Crazy was getting rounds upon rounds off of these individual pop-offs, and that's why Alternate wasn't able to really materialize it into further rounds. I think that's really starting to come true now, because you can see how strong the CT side has been, how strong Alternate has been when you don't see
hasn't had a kill for 6 rounds, by the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of the first half was off of the back of Toxic pretty much overperforming.
I mean, now we can see a 14-14. Somehow the equalizations come through. Merbit will swing out. Stefan is good for 1. Merbit makes it 2. Looking to keep that number going. As a 4v2 is on the cards, and aTTaX should be able to come out on top with this one. Merbit's position is known, but Sensei does not feel confident in the spam, and why would he? He's alone versus 4. Does bring down 1 player at the very least, but Sensei, the master, might be a little bit disappointed very soon, unfortunately. 40 seconds on the clock. TTs don't have any offensive utility at the very least. So Molotov flies in to try and prevent them from coming out, but he's scouted out, and I don't know, man. aTTaX is on 15. It's a thing.
Yeah, I don't think any one of us could have expected this, but aTTaX really sticking to their guns, showing us why they have that 90% win rate on Vertigo.
12 rounds in a row, by the way. 12 rounds in a row. I just counted.
Yeah, that's an unstoppable CT side. There is nothing going the way of Crazy anymore. As soon as aTTaX get their guns on, they get in their mojo. And they've been dancing a dance that Crazy do not know the moves for. Again, Stefan teasing us with this name. Why does this happen?
No, I'm okay, Stefan. You can tease me all you want. I know you're going to give me something beautiful at the end of the day. AK at the ready. Oh, he repositioned. That is so nicely done. He knows exactly where they're coming from. They're going to be checking around the corner, and they're distracted. That means Stefan can swing out, but he's only good for 1. Slacks and Merbit are more than happy to pick it all up and wrap it up. To send it away, though. Crazy. All this fire, all these flames, they cannot plant the bomb. They cannot get on the default spot. And although it will seem to be coming in, there's a flashbang. Merbit peeks with it, leaving Circus alone. It's 13 rounds in a row. One way or another, aTTaX are able to get their jobs done. It's a 2-0, but it didn't feel like it.
Oh yeah, man, that was so extended to the point of disbelief. What to say about that, and there I am. Ooh, hello.
It's just sheer insanity. I mean, if you guys are tuning in just for this series, you don't know what exactly is going on. This is the Swiss stage. This is week 2. This is 9-5. So alternate attacks, you're still going to be seeing more of them. Crazy, you're still going to be seeing more of them as well. I think we can actually bring up the Swiss stage standings as well. We'll be able to take a quick look at where everyone is. But that game was just this absurd hodgepodge, which could have gone either way. I felt like maybe Crazy would have been able to take it to 3 maps because